Got a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Other than that, you just got the usual brake tapping going on to get home. Nothing too backed up at this point. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A slightly different entry into the show today as we have the mayor of Nashville on hold right now on our telephone lines, and we're going to get right to him after I say welcome in. It's the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thursday, May 1, first day of May in this year, 2025. Thank you for being around with us. It's our episode 801. There's lots of news to get into, not the least of which the 62nd State of Metro address delivered this morning at 10 a.m. in the Nashville Public Library by Mayor Freddie O'Connell. I was in attendance. I was in the crowd. I watched as the mayor delivered his remarks. Many of you might be aware of some of the things he said regarding law and order, safety, schools, and, of course, taxation. To speak on these matters, we welcome back to the Matt Murphy Show, Mayor Freddie O'Connell. Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good to be with you. Yeah, great to be with you. Thanks for joining us in person for the
It was.
you were there.
It was certainly a big event. How do you feel like it went?
I mean, as I say to anybody who asks how I'm doing or how I feel about something, it's really more about how people in the room, people in the city felt about it. I feel like it was great to see a mix of so many different people from different parts of my life in the room. We had certainly Metro leaders, a lot of just ordinary citizens, people who pay attention to what Metro is doing. So I feel like it was especially touching to hear, first the moment of recognition a little bit from Lisa Spencer, who joined us to talk about the flood, and then to extend that a little bit to recognize the young folks who were there from Antioch High School and the Wind Ensemble playing for us. So lots of great touching moments, lots of important considerations. There's nothing easy about the process of governing and particularly budgeting within that, because we know it relies on the trust and confidence of voters who are almost always taxpayers, and that's one of the things that we try to honor as much as we possibly can in every decision.
I gave you credit when you were on with us last. I think it was in January, because while we might come at this differently, and I don't have your job and you don't have mine. And we don't have, we don't have shared perspective on this. However, you did not shy away from the idea that in a property tax reappraisal year, that you have to, and considering the truth in taxation and the equalization, of impact, that you have to look at the possibility of adjusting rates accordingly. And you addressed that in your remarks today. Talk about what impact that's going to have on Davidson County and Nashvillians.
Yeah, and I shared it with you and your listeners last time I was on. This is a normal part of how we do business, and I think you just talked a little bit about why this is so complicated. The state requires us to equalize our property tax rate to be revenue neutral in an appraisal year. We've had a lot of property valuation increases. I think a lot of Nashvillians have just gotten their appraisal letters in the mail from the assessor's office. We just did at our house last week. And, like many Nashvillians, our property values have gone up. Now, what's so hard about this moment, though, is we did release a budget today that would increase the tax levy from that equalized rate. But I can also tell you, because our neighborhood is one that saw its property values really spike in that period from 2017 to 2021, it's very likely that many of my neighbors will actually pay less in overall taxes. But there are other neighborhoods across Nashville who saw much of that significant growth in valuation jumped this cycle, and so there will be Nashvillians who do pay more in property taxes. I think what I'm sensitive to is it's not like there's some across the board number that you can just tell everybody, hey, this is exactly how much your property taxes are going up or down, because that just doesn't really exist. It's all about every individual property and the interplay between property value and the tax levy.
So, absent those few individuals that you bring up who you say might have a decrease in overall amounts that they're paying, I don't think I did not walk away from your speech with any doubt that property taxes were going up. I mean, you made it clear that the cost of city services were going up, and as a consequence, you had to make adjustments to bring in more revenue through property taxes. That was my takeaway. Was I reading that wrong?
No, you got it right. But I will say right now today, sitting at my desk, I don't know the total number of Nashvillians for whom the total amount of taxes they pay will go down versus up. I can tell you that the overall tax levy post-equalization rate that we are going to recommend is almost equivalent to the 5 years of inflation impact in the cost of governing in Nashville. And so, again, we're tracking pretty closely with costs, and that's part of the overall responsibility outlook we had here.
Wait, when you say, and I'm just trying to understand you. When you say when you're tracking with cost, that means you're going to increase property taxes consistent with the amount of cost to engage in what you consider to be essential government function.
That is exactly right.
You spoke directly, Mayor, to those who were against it, and I was among that group. I went out and I talked to a lot of those folks, and a lot of those folks are listening to us right now that are against the concept of raising property taxes. And as you say, when you discuss this, when you have reassessment, that does not automatically mean a rate increase. The state government, and I go over it all. I don't want to waste our time going over it again. It is a complex, and you noted that. It's a complex measure. But people generally don't want to pay more out of their pocket. They want the government, Nashville and Davidson County, to live within its means. And you spoke directly to those folks by saying these are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. And I want to address that topic because when you drew up this budget, you balanced to that budget, right?
That's 100% true, but within our operating budget, there is an expectation among key Metro departments, namely the Metro Action Commission, the Metro Public Health Department, where some of those recurring programs like Head Start, like the Low Income Heating and Energy Assistance Program, like what we used to have from an epidemiological lab capacity standpoint at Metro Public Health, there are full Metro positions. Like, these people are Metro employees whose salaries, whose jobs come directly from recurring federal revenue.
Right. I understand. But the question is, you are required and you feel obligated to balance the budget for the city of Nashville.
Oh, we are. It's not just a personal feeling, although I do think balanced budget as a baseline for how we govern is a great thing. Like,
right. So why don't you understand
of our balanced budget approach?
Why don't you understand the concept federally of doing the same thing? Because you don't seem to understand that.
No, of course I do.
Hold on a second. We're $37 trillion in debt, and you poo-pooed that today during your speech like it was nothing. The United States of America is $37 trillion in debt, Freddie.
Matt, if you really want to get into a discussion of federal spending, we can do that.
No, you brought it up during your speech. You said,
I did, because we rely on those. We rely on those programs locally.
You said, make no mistake, it's not about efficiency. Then what is it about?
It is not. Then what is it about?
Then what is it about?
I think it is about just the level of cuts, and I think that's where my greatest
No. If the
is.
cuts
if
on the federal level,
it's not about efficiency.
We overspent. How much did we overspend as a federal government last year? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that these cuts aren't tackling the report about $400 billion in contractual.
Then why would you insult the people who were protesting a tax increase by suggesting that it wasn't about efficiency if you don't even know how much we overspent last year, Freddie?
Because I do know that the impact of those cuts coming down was not something done to say, is this a wasted dollar? It was just, we're going to cut the dollar.
Should the federal government balance its budget?
I do think the federal government should balance its budget.
How does it do that?
Ideally, what they would do is what we do here. They would make sure that every dollar in came in and had, that the balance sheet added up.
But you said you walked past people this morning who believe property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, and these people are celebrating the chaos of federal cuts. And I'm trying to understand what.
And so, I mean, this is where I would say the dollar of, I mean, this is where you talk about, if you want to talk about efficiency, it is not just to say we are going to blindly cut some amount in some department. I think if you were really focused on efficiency, you would be measuring those dollars as a part of trying to move toward a balanced budget, not just making indiscriminate cuts. It's exactly the opposite of what we're doing.
Is it an efficient use of the taxpayer dollars to spend money suing the federal government for this purpose?
For things that are funding amounts that are already obligated, yes. Like, I do fundamentally believe that congressional authority should be obeyed. I don't think even conservative listeners would say that the White House should supersede congressional authority here.
I would agree with
that's a terrible trend.
I don't know, and you perhaps can help me understand this, but I don't know of any monies that have been allocated by the previous Congress that have not been honored.
We'll happily send you a list. That's the only thing we're taking legal action on, is those things that we have announced that were previously authorized by Congress that are lawfully entitled to come back to Nashville. Those are the only things. And Matt, I'll be clear with you. We celebrate the things that continue. We've had some programs that they have said 100% are continuing. We celebrate those. The places we are taking legal action are only the ones that are congressionally authorized, lawfully due to Nashville. And I will say, too, we know that there was an election in November that changed the federal landscape substantially. And when White House and Congress together have new approaches to spending, which I know that they will, we will be ready to participate in all of those grant applications. Anything that remains from a discretionary spending standpoint that aligns with what we're trying to do for Nashvilleians locally, we will fully participate. But we're not going to let them change the rules on the fly.
What is the amount of revenue that you expect to increase through the property tax to pay for the programs that you outlined today in the speech?
The total amount goes up. I think if you look at FY25 to FY26 and expenditure growth, I think we're up a few $100 million year over year.
And you addressed, and I want to talk about the juxtaposition between talking about the necessity to go up in the amount, the overall amount that taxpayers will pay in their property taxes moving forward, and the availability of affordable housing. Because as you well know, and you and I have spoken about it in the past, that landlords, those that rent, have those associated property tax costs oftentimes passed along to them. So how, as a leader in the city, do you how do you work both of those concepts at the same time, providing affordable housing for those who are working on, more meager incomes in the city versus the necessity to relook at the property taxes?
Yeah, and it's one of many factors. If we looked at the cost of any individual home in the city of Nashville, it is certainly the case that what that valuation is and the impact on taxes is a non-zero factor there, but it is also not close to the biggest factor. Typically speaking, it's going to be land value and construction costs and those kinds of things. And so we're looking at the full toolkit there of where we can offer long-term affordability, where I think if you look at it from supply side, we're ultimately going to need to make sure that that combination of infrastructure costs, construction costs, land costs, as you develop housing, as you try to preserve housing, as you use that full toolkit of sometimes incentives, sometimes grants, sometimes low interest loans, sometimes payment in lieu of taxes. We're trying to ensure that we can offer all of the things together, because there's not just one approach that suddenly means you're going to see a neighborhood full of $150,000 starter homes, right? That's the challenge, is that across the board in Nashville, you do see, because of the growth of the city and the success of the city economically, that land values are up almost across the county.
You brought up a number of statistics regarding crime, and I don't dispute the statistics that you've brought up. I mean, obviously you have them, and you've worked closely with Chief John Drake in terms of tackling issues involving crime, and you mentioned that violent crime rates are down year over year, property crime rates are down year over year. I think I have that correct. Why do you think that there's a perception that that's not the case? I want you to speak to that, because I want to give you an opportunity to talk about some of those stats that you brought up today.
Sure. I mean, if you watch local news, and I get asked about this all the time, and this was true when I was a district council member, there are so many times when you get asked about specific crimes, and it is absolutely the case that we had more homicides last year than I want to see. We'd love to drive to zero homicides in the city of Nashville, but if you have, say, 100 homicides, that's going to be 100 episodes of nightly news that capture that. If you have a high-profile drug bust, it both says, look, we apprehended a lot of these people, and it's the same thing if some of them happen to be involved in a gang, then you're going to both recognize that law enforcement did its job here. This was a lengthy intelligence process that got here. We have some people that will probably face federal charges across a whole spectrum and hopefully be off our streets for a long time. But you're also finding, oh, wait a second, these people were in our community and frequently there to cause more harm in the community. So you do see coverage of it. So you see coverage of crime. What you rarely see is coverage of crime prevention. You don't see how many neighborhoods people are out walking their dogs with strollers, spending time in parks, community centers, greenways, enjoying the city where crime is not occurring, because that's just not a news story. And so I do think it's important to honor and recognize the difficulty of anybody in the city who has been a victim of any type of crime, and also not stand still. Like, we don't take these statistics and say we're satisfied. We take where we are in this environment and we invest. We're investing in the police department. We're investing in more safety and security in parks, in our transit system, in our schools. We are investing in new approaches. We're expanding the partnerships that exist across first responders and clinicians that are actually leaving police more capability to go respond directly to crime in progress. We have Chief Drake innovating within the department to create a citywide flex detail that is able to support the work that's happening on the ground in each precinct. We're opening a 9th precinct in one of the fastest growing parts of the city in Southeast Nashville. So we don't accept these, recognize the progress, also recognize that there's still more work to do. And so we're making strategic investments to try to improve safety further.
I agree with you. The concept, airplane lands safely and on time is never going to be a headline, right? And so I would agree with you that some of those good things don't get out there. I want to ask you this. You and I, Mayor, have talked many times about this, but I don't think I've asked the question in this way. If you had the ability to make the decision singularly, would you approve license plate readers for the city of Nashville?
Yeah, and I think, to your point, what I would do is I would put forward the policy that we have ready to go, ready to present to Metro Council that we are confident could not pass Metro Council right now. We would put that in place, and we would
LPRs have already passed. Forward. They've already passed.
The initial contracts have already passed. We have not been able to actually create the full implementation.
The Metro Council says that they're waiting on you.
Well, you might want to go back and check this with them because
Have you brought you've brought the contracts to them for approval?
We have not, but I'll tell you what.
Well, then how are they not waiting on you, Freddie?
Because did you see what happened a few weeks ago, Matt? They filed and then withdrew a resolution requesting that we bring the contracts because they weren't even close to enough votes to pass.
Do you have, so you can't bring anything unless they give you permission to bring it? You can bring the contracts to them, can you not?
We are always in conversation with council members, and I'm telling you right now today, we do not believe the votes are there. We could put them on the record, but I'll tell you.
I just want to get you on record.
We did
yes or no?
Them on
yes
the record
or no?
on FUSIS at the end of the year, and they defeated our FUSIS proposal by one vote, and those same council members are not ready to approve the LPR.
So based on your assessment of the efficacy of LPR, I think I got a yes out of you in terms of if you had the decision. So do you believe that is an example of the Metro Council being soft on crime?
No, I believe that is an example of the Metro Council not finding a different balance of privacy versus safety, and it is why it is an important public conversation, and it is where you do see, I think, daylight between the administration's approach and the council's approach and priorities.
I just want to be clear. If I'm misunderstanding this, correct me. The council approved, there was a pilot license plate reader program that was deemed successful. The council approved the contracts to be...
Yeah, but think about this. The Metro Council approved this before the current term. And so this Metro Council is the one that has to approve the contracts that would actually allow us to implement it.
So you don't have the ability in terms of leadership. You say that you want this. Can you not convince the council that this is the right thing to do? Isn't that what being a leader is?
It's certainly a part of the function of leadership to be able to make the case. We continue to try to make the case, and I will say council members tell us over and over again that these are not issues of local trust and confidence, that other changes in the federal and state landscape make them, they are paying attention to leadership at multiple levels right now, Matt.
Wait, so you're saying the council's not comfortable with LPRs because of federal leadership?
I am telling you
that's what you just said, Freddie. You just said the council's not comfortable because of state and federal leadership.
I am telling you that if FUSIS had been brought to the council before the election in November, I think it would have passed.
Much like our property tax increases, we're blaming Donald Trump. That's interesting.
I am not blaming our property taxes on Donald Trump.
You most certainly did. I was in the speech, Freddie. You said you
heard something different than what I said, Matt.
You said based on the instability of federal money and our inability to continue to depend on federal money coming into the city and increase costs, you have to make adjustments based on that. I was sitting there when you said it.
We absolutely have to be looking at budget stabilization. It's a function of the fund balance policy, not in how we're governing. But if we watch
Hello? Huh. I am certain that was accidental in nature, that we lost Freddie's call. Let me just make sure something. No, phone lines were working. So I don't know. I don't know why we lost the call, but we lost the call. That is the most contentious interview that we've had with Freddie O'Connell, mainly because, he's calling us back. Just yank him back on. Freddie, I apologize for that. I don't know what happened there. Finish your thought. So look, Matt, I know this is I'm here. I know this is a contentious interview, and I understand that, and I know you've got to go in just a minute.
It's look, fine. This is why we talk about the issues.
Well, but
we're not blaming Trump for how we structured the budget.
Well, I heard a different speech then because it sounded like you were. It sounded like you were saying that because of a lack of ability to depend on federal money.
That is a factor in our budget and how we draft our fund balance policy. But you can go look for dollar, the things that are in the budget are focused on core services, and there is inflation to take account of, and that's all there.
So what set me off and what what frustrates me, Freddie, is that you seemed to cast aspersions at the people outside during your speech. And if I misheard that, or if I perceived it in an incorrect way.
I get it, Matt. And
because
I will say it this way.
Listen, I talked to those people. You didn't. You came in a different way. I talked to those people. And some of those people are on a budget, Freddie. They're fixed income people, and they live in Davidson County, and they don't know how they're going to be able to afford a property tax increase. And so it kind of pisses me off when you dismiss them as just Trump people who don't care. They care. They're worried.
I appreciate that. And I have talked to many people in the past several months about the sensitivity of whether property values and property taxes are going to mean they pay more this year or next. And we are deeply committed to focusing on affordability in the city. I'll say what I've also heard, though, and what I've seen from the communications that surrounded the people who gathered there today, who were protesting before they had seen anything about what else is in the budget, was that the signage, the level of messaging suggests that there's an indiscriminate way in which they don't necessarily want us to do anything that increases taxes. And what that means is, if you want to make cuts, we've looked at that. It's not like we're doing, some level of spending that isn't a part of our framework of core services. We are staffing up the Southeast Precinct. We're staffing up the D detail for MMPD. We are staffing up and adding technology to schools for safety. We're doing the same thing in parks. We're giving the court system more visibility into where people who commit crimes in Nashville might have had records outside of Nashville, so they don't get released as easily on bonds that don't make sense. I mean, we're trying to cover this stuff with investments that, yes, we've had to pay the costs of fiscal responsibility from years past when we did not maintain as much of a rainy day fund or didn't think about budget stabilization, but all of those things are in there. And a lot of the conversations and communications specifically from that group of people were not the kind of thoughtful conversation that you and I have had.
One of the things I like about you, Freddie, we can go have a PBR at Roberts, and we can also have these disagreements publicly, and you're willing to come on with us. And for that, I appreciate you, and thank you for being on with us today. And we'll talk again very soon.
Matt, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to talk, and I always look forward to it.
Take care. There's Mayor Freddie O'Connell to news, and maybe get some of your calls on that. 32 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are looking at a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather here in Middle Tennessee. Right now, I'm looking at radar. Looks like the only heavy rain right now is in Kentucky. There are a couple of showers popping up back to the west of Nashville, right in between Jackson and Nashville, but they are nowhere near severe limits. The risk for tornadoes in all of this is very low. If storms were to develop and they go severe, the risk for tornadoes would be very low, but it looks like damaging winds and hail would be the main threat. We got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 4 minutes. Some Nashvillians going to have to pay higher property taxes, even though the increase in the mayor's new budget proposal today, according to the mayor's office, includes a combined rate lower than that of 2021 to 2025. Channel 4's Dryden Quigley was there with protesters outside of the State of the Metro address.
All morning, people were outside of the Nashville Public Library chanting. A few told us that they moved to Nashville because of the low taxes and did not want to see them go up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell acknowledged that although it is the lowest rate in decades, some will still be paying more because their home values have gone up by more than the average of 45%. He said that these taxes, though, are essential to paying for school safety, emergency services, and a new police precinct.
And the Tennessee Highway Patrol trying to locate the hit-and-run driver who killed a man on Old Nashville Highway in Laverne in Rutherford County this morning. Channel 4 spoke to one of the neighbors who says something needs to be done about that road.
It's just unfortunate that people are hitting and run things. For a family to have to suffer, what do? We can't fathom what's going on around. it's just a shock.
Neighbors say this happened just after 5 o'clock when this man was out on his normal daily walk near where he lives, usually going against traffic so he could be seen better by drivers. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police reporting a crash 40 eastbound near the airport. And then we got a stalled vehicle blocking the left lane, 440 westbound, going to be right after Murphy Road. That's going to be the exit 1A. And in Berryhill, got a crash reported 65 northbound at Armory Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and if you're thinking about building on your property, might I recommend you contact the fine team at Stoltz Co. They've been in the business of building quality post-frame buildings for a long time now. They are the best in the industry in our community. Do not consider a prefabricated building before you talk to Stoltz Co. It's just not the way to go, and it's not going to improve your property values in the same way that you think it will. If you own land and if you want to do something with your money to raise the value of your property, let's put a pole barn on it, a garage, an equestrian space, an event space, or even a barn dominium. You could put a mother or father-in-law suite on your property for a low amount of money. All you have to do is call Stoltz Co. to find out how to get it done. Or go online and see some of the quality structures they've done in the past. StoltzCo.com. That's STOLTZCO.com. For more information or call 615-622-5992. 622-5992 for Stoltz Co. Fellas, are you not feeling yourself? Do you feel lethargic, run down, low energy, and perhaps has this manifested itself in the bedroom? If that is the case, gentlemen, you don't have to live with this. Please call the Tennessee Men's Clinic today. Get an appointment with these guys and let them work on your situation. Don't go online or call some 800 number. Don't get pills from... Look, folks, you need to talk to a qualified urologist. This is your health. This is your relationship. This is your intimacy we're talking about. You need to go to the professionals, somebody you can look in the eye and say, this is what I need, and they can deliver what you need to get you back to the performance level that you've come to know. It is all about men's health at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and they can assist. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or give them a call. 2 locations. There's one in the Cool Springs area, and the other is in Midtown, the original location starting in 2014. Tennessee Men's Clinic at 615-208-9090, 208-9090. A couple of things. One, I do appreciate that Freddie came on. I do appreciate his willingness to come on. I do get very frustrated sometimes with our mayor or the mayor of Metro Nashville. He's really not my mayor. I live out in Mount Juliet. But there seems to be a little bit of doublespeak that goes on from time to time. I was in the grand reading room of the Nashville Public Library this morning when Freddie O'Connell addressed the city. You can go watch it yourself and tell me if you do not walk away from the speech with the basic overriding belief that Freddie is blaming the necessity for increased taxation in this city on the uncertainty of the Trump administration. Secondarily, and the thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit, and I tried to hold my tongue as best I could, and I know that I'm bad at it. His characterization of those people outside, there were probably 30, 35 protesters outside holding signs. The characterization that he made of them in the speech and the characterization that he made of them on the show today does piss me off. And I told him so. Y'all heard me. Because these are hardworking people. These are people that have worked hard all of their lives, that have watched their property. I talked to a guy today who said when he bought his house 12 years ago, it was $130,000, and now they're telling him that it's worth $300,000. And he said, I'm on a fixed income. That you're over doubling the amount of money that I ultimately pay in property taxes, and I can't afford that type of hit. I've got to figure things out. I got to figure out how to eat. Those aren't nice to haves. Those aren't rich folk. And the mischaracterization of the people that were out there protesting the idea of new property taxes was wrong. And the idea that we are supportive of the DOGE cuts and don't really care about efficiency is 100% wrong. And I'm talking to Mayor O'Connell, who can't even tell me how much the federal government overspent last year. Well, maybe you should know that before you go around characterizing the people that support it as chaos people. That's all I'll say about it right now. I want you guys to get an opportunity to speak. Our good friend Pamela Furr with Americans for Prosperity was out today. She was a great organizer of the event out of doors, and I appreciate all of her efforts that went into making sure that as many people as possible in Davidson County were aware of the goings-on at the public library today. Pamela, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I feel a little insulted by our mayor. In response to what he said on the air with you, our messaging has only been no new taxes. Hey, Freddie, don't raise our property taxes. And AFP Tennessee has worked with Mayor Freddie O'Connell before on some issues. And so for him to say what he said, the messaging has been nothing but the request, don't do it. So that's number one. Number two, I had heard, I didn't get to go inside the speech, but I had heard from several people some of the things that he said. Not only those people, which right off the bat is insulting in itself to characterize us as those people, But I think he also said things like, they don't think you should fill the potholes and pay for it. They don't think we should fund education.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
That's right.
That is just a bold face. I don't want to say a lie. I'm going to say just a very, very poor characterization of his constituents, because we live here. There may have been 2 or 3 people that don't live in Davidson County that joined us. Most of those people out there are his constituents. So it's really, I feel disrespected right at this moment. And I've never felt that way from Freddie O'Connell, and I do right at this moment. That's number one. Number 2, this Freddie fuzzy math thing is kind of bothering me as well. And maybe I am simplifying it too much. You guys tell me if I'm right or wrong here. But if the comptroller's office is going to bring the tax rate down so that we as taxpayers pay exactly what we paid last year on property taxes, then why doesn't he just leave it at that?
Because
he doesn't have to do anything else.
Because he wants more money.
Because he wants more money. To spend on what? I saw he's wanting to put $45 million towards affordable housing. What does that mean?
Well, apparently, and I didn't get a chance to ask it, but apparently Freddie, I mean, I don't want to mischaracterize anything he said, but, you know, sometimes when I'm talking to more liberal people, they seem to think affordable housing means government subsidized housing. And I don't think that's what it means. I don't think that's what most people, they're not asking for Section 8 housing. They're asking they're asking for an ability to afford the rent. They're asking for an ability to afford their own home if possible. Yeah. So, you know, and no, he said those things, Pamela, and I was there and I listened to him say those things that, you know, apparently you don't want public safety, you don't want good schools, you don't want the potholes filled.
What a ridiculous thing to say.
Well, he would say to you, and because he said it today, that all of these costs are going up. Well, all of these costs are going up. Well, you know what I'm also seeing going up? A new football stadium. Right? So we can have that. We can have all that new development. We can have that new planning commission. We can have new bureaucracy. We can have all these new nice to haves, and you get to pay for it in the form of new property taxes because costs are going up.
Right. Yeah, he also said that those people out there were protesting before they even heard my plan. I think you said that on your show. And we were protesting because he has said property taxes are going to go. I don't need to see the plan. He has said on your show and during some of his press conferences that property taxes were just they're going up. You're just going to have to understand they're going up. He has said that numerous times, and there have been members of his city council who sent emails to constituents saying we're probably looking at a 30% property tax hike. So, I mean, we didn't pull this out of our butt just so we can protest and be on TV. You know, we wanted to make a difference and send the message that this is not something that he should be thinking about on the backs of taxpayers.
How dare.
Spend what you did last year, just like we're going to spend what we did last year if the comptroller brings that tax rate down so that we can. You do the same, Freddie.
How dare the Nashville Tea Party, Americans for Prosperity, and GOP Nashville catch wind of exactly what Freddie O'Connell is going to do before his speech today. I mean, Shorter O'Connell in that remark was, I don't want you to protest until it's too late.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, you know, I mean, he disrespected us, and I've never been. I've said this many times, and people get upset at me for saying I like Freddie O'Connell. I do. I like him. You had mentioned, you know, being able to have a beer with him later. He is that kind of person, and I do believe that he loves this city. I believe that with all of my heart, but we disagree fundamentally on the right steps to do that, especially if you're coming to the taxpayers again. You know, I think somebody said that he mentioned it will be the lowest tax rate since 1972.
He did.
Yeah, but we're going to be paying more because of that. The evaluations have gone up.
Right. A 3 point, and I don't know what this rate means, but it's a 3.2. What I guess that's a percentage rate. And, you know, he said the lowest overall property tax rate in Nashville since 1972. He said he wants to take it to a 2.8%. That's from a 2.814%, a change from 3.254%. But if my property assessed value, which I don't get any money for, right? If I own my home, I mean, it's not like I'm getting a check. If my assessed value goes up 54%, which it has done in some communities, that rate increase is not going to nearly offset the amount of money. And Freddie also said, and I think he lives in Salem Town, if I'm not mistaken. I want to see the homes in Salem Town that pay less in property taxes, because he said that some of the houses in his neighborhood were going to pay less in property. I want to see those houses.
Yeah, me too. I had a reporter ask me about my house. My house value went up $100,000, and so that means my tax bill is going to go up quite a bit. And so the lady asked me, would you move out of Davidson County because of that? And I said, I don't know that I'd be able to find the same house that I'm in now for the assessed value at $300,000, whatever it might be, $300,000, $350,000, $400,000. I wouldn't get the same house. But yet I'm going to be paying more taxes in Davidson County than if I bought a, $350,000, $400,000 house in, I don't know, Dixon County or Montgomery County. So it just doesn't, I'm not going to get the same house. Does that make sense? Because I bought it 12 years ago.
I get it.
Like the other gentleman. Yeah.
No, anyway. There are a lot of people that are stuck, and it frustrates me to no end that he would mischaracterize those folks. And I agree with you. It's unlike him.
His constituents.
As much as I'm going to fuss with him, I'm going to yell at him, because I think that many people in his community in Nashville, in Davidson County, want to yell at him. And I want to be a reflection of those individuals, and I want to speak truth to power in that way. But I do appreciate him coming on. I'll say that. So
Sure. I wish he would have come outside and spoke to us for a little bit. There were several city council members who did. Some who agree with us and some who don't, but they at least came out and spoke with us. And I respect that. And I think the rest of the folks, I respected them for doing that too. I mean, we weren't going to beat anybody over the head. There were plenty of Metro police officers out there. We weren't going to beat anybody with the American flag or anything.
Who, as always, did a great job, by the way.
Yes,
Metro police did a great job.
Absolutely.
Okay, Pamela.
So anyway, that's my assessment.
Love you long time. I know you did a great job, and I appreciate the great job that you did for AFP, and a wonderful organized event. And thank you. I got to scoot. It's 52 after the hour. We never put phones on hold over here. Somebody said, are your phones on hold? No, they're just full, although we do have one availability right now. So we're going to get to all of you in a moment, and I'm just going to shut up and allow you to talk. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Roll Call 3.0 is tomorrow. Friends, have you gotten your tickets? Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win tickets to the Saturday event coming up a little bit later on in the show. But if you don't want to wait to win, and if you want a special deal, you go to fearlessrollcall.com. That's fearlessrollcall.com, and you put in the promo code 997, and you're going to get half off that Saturday ticket. And that's a pretty good value, folks. Now, Saturdays, that's for the men folk and their sons. The Friday event and the Saturday night event, everybody is welcome and available. Roll Call 3.0 is in tomorrow and Saturday. It's more than just a conference. It's a call to action. It's about uniting bold, faith-driven men to stand strong in today's culture. I'll be there broadcasting live from 3rd and Lindsley tomorrow, kicking off this huge event. It's a conversation with Jason Whitlock and Tucker Carlson, a VIP event, truly. If you've ever been to 3rd and Lindsley, every seat is a VIP seat. Live country music from Randy Houser, comedy from Steve Byrne. On Saturday, the event moves to Rocketown for a full day of inspiration, insight, and high-impact speakers. And then Saturday night, a post-event dinner, an exclusive opportunity to connect directly with Jason Whitlock. Duggar Band will be there. That's at the Beeman household. It is open to everyone, that Friday night and Saturday night event. The Saturday event is for you men out there who want to be with faith-driven men who want to stand strong in today's culture. Go to fearlessrollcall.com. I think I've decided on this Thursday that I'm going to declare T-Shirt Tuesday on Thursday. And if y'all go in to see Tommy at Volunteer Outfitters, tell anybody that's there, Tommy, and sometimes Tommy's not there, there's the other crew there, but if you go to Volunteer Outfitters on New Shackle Island Road, they do T-Shirt Tuesdays, where if you go in and you purchase any item in the store, they give you a free T-shirt on Tuesdays. Now, they only do this on Tuesdays, but I'm going to go off the grid here. I'm going to go rogue, and I'm going to tell you, if you go in, tell him Murphy said he'll cover the T-shirt today. And just make a tally, y'all, and I'll figure it out. Because I want y'all to see what I have seen at Volunteer Outfitters. And that is the incredible selection, the sportsman's gear. They've got hunting attire. They have fishing attire. They just have salt life attire, right? You know what I'm saying? They've got stuff to wear on the boat. They've got stuff to wear on the golf course. They've got every outdoorsman's dream outfit or whatnot right there in their shop. Go to Volunteer Outfitters and you'll see. Plus, they've got sports attire, collegiate attire. They're in Hendersonville on New Shackle Island Road. Give them a call at 615-431-0824. They're open until 6 today, until 4 on Saturday. It's Volunteer Outfitters.
It's 4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Everyone in Middle Tennessee under that level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather through about 10 o'clock tonight. Keeping an eye on it for you. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Property owners whose value increased by more than 45% are going to have to pay higher taxes in Nashville. During the 62nd annual State of the Metro address, Mayor Freddie O'Connell says it's necessary to provide the resources he says Nashvillians are going to need.
Building schools, patching potholes, picking up trash, and keeping people safe are all more expensive. This is a challenging budget to prepare because there are so many financial variables. Our national economic outlook is murky. We're phasing out hundreds of millions of dollars of one-time federal COVID relief funding.
Now, that's not sitting well with protesters who Channel 4's Dryden Quigley says think that money should come from somewhere else.
All morning, people were outside of the Nashville Public Library chanting. A few told us that they moved to Nashville because of the low taxes and did not want to see them go up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell acknowledged that although it is the lowest rate in decades, some will still be paying more because their home values have gone up by more than the average of 45%. He said that these taxes, though, are essential to paying for school safety, emergency services, and a new police precinct.
Well, President Trump busy on Truth Social today, posting any country that buys oil from Iran will not be allowed to do business with the U.S., and the president also announcing he's nominating Mike Waltz to be the next United States ambassador to the United Nations, and that Secretary of State Marco Rubio will do double duty and serve as national security advisor. Trump does not mention anything about Waltz adding that reporter to the Signal app conversation between top and Trump administration officials about bombing Houthis. A Trump-appointed federal judge in Texas ruled a centuries-old wartime authority to send alleged gang members out of the country without a hearing's illegal.
It's a repudiation of the White House's legal strategy. Judge Fernando Rodriguez says the president cannot summarily declare that an invasion has occurred to rely on the use of the Alien Enemies Act. Appointed by President Trump and confirmed in 2018, Rodriguez points to the dictionary definition and historic meaning of the word invasion and finds the president hasn't shown how the Tren de Aragua gang aims to conquer the country or assume control over a portion of it.
Not everyone's loving it at McDonald's. The burger giant today reported sales fell more than 3.5% in the first quarter. McDonald's telling investors traffic among middle-income diners fell by nearly double digits alongside an ongoing drop-off among low-income ones. and that more people appear to be skipping breakfast entirely to cut back on spending. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Just picked up another crash. This one's going to be in Franklin, blocking the right lane, 840 westbound after Lewisburg Pike. Still seeing that crash. Off-ramp partially blocked over by the airport, 40 eastbound to exit 216A. And in Berry Hill, right shoulder blocked by a crash, 65 northbound at Armory Drive. In Jolton, Highway Patrol reporting a crash 24 westbound between exits 31 and exit 24. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Boy, a fast-paced first hour. We'll get into hour number 2 right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. If you missed last hour, boy, oh boy, had a lively discussion with Mayor Freddie O'Connell about his State of the Metro address happening earlier today, 10 o'clock this morning at the Nashville Public Library. I was there in the grand reading room. I witnessed it for myself, and then we had an interesting 25-minute conversation or so. In the meantime, many of you want to opine on this subject matter, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to get right to you as promised. But I have to do one quick thing before I do. I have to say hello to my good friends, my colleagues. The straw that stirs the proverbial drink is Ken Weaver. He's in the newsroom, News Closet B, we say. And, Ken, I failed in the first hour because of all of the busy nature of the activity going on to say hello.
How about you?
What's going on?
I'm just back here writing up news.
What about it?
Listening to you and Mayor O'Connell. Writing up the news.
The mayor texted me after our conversation.
Yeah?
He did.
What'd he say?
He said, A little more sparring today than anticipated, but I still appreciate you. I especially appreciate you coming in person.
Yeah.
And I responded. I said, sometimes my passion manifests in frustration or anger. I do not intend that to translate into disrespect. Thank you for being on the show.
No, I think you guys were respectful.
Tried to be. But
I think you were.
I just feel the need. The one thing that bothered me more than anything, and y'all can go back and listen to the interview, is the manner in which I believed, it was my perception, how Freddie was characterizing people who were against this tax increase. And I think it was an unfair characterization. I also don't like the idea of him sloughing this off on the federal government when the federal government's $37 trillion in debt. And you got to save that money somewhere. And we addressed that, and I won't rehash all of it. But that was my main frustration was he did not bother to walk through those people. He did not bother to say hello to those people. And he could have done that. The mayor, many city councilors did. The mayor could have walked out of that public library and said hello to the people protesting his tax increase proposal, and those people would have been plenty respectful of the mayor. And even if disrespectful, so what? There are plenty of police officers there to ensure his public safety. So, you know, it kind of bothered me that he characterized them in a particular way and didn't go bother to speak to them. But anyway, enough of that. I want to get to you. There's, by the way, there's Ken Weaver back in News Closet B. There's Chris Weber.
Brother Chris Weber.
What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, I was.
Your first hour was fun, huh?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought I disconnected the mayor there. I don't know what happened with that, but glad he called back. You know what? I'm surprised that I think he may be part machine or something because he's just.
I thought I was going to get him riled up.
He's flatlined, man. He's just cool as a cucumber.
He's pretty steady.
I mean, when he started ticking me off on the federal money stuff, and I started going after him, and when I was like, "Well, how much money did we overspend last year, Freddie?" And I don't know, and I was like, "Oh, blah," and he just, I mean,
yeah.
I tell you, I've said that he looks like a squirrel in human form. And he knows that, by the way, and he still comes on the show. But I might have to reassess my characterization because squirrels are kind of jumpy. And
that's true.
And Freddie just,
he might be one of them Zuckerbergs, one of those robot fellas, androids. He's like Data from Star Trek.
If Freddie comes back on, I promise you, as long as you remind me, I'll forget. But if you remind me, I'll go, Freddie, are you one of them Zuckerbergs? I'll ask him that. See what he says.
Zuckerberg.
You one of them Zuckerberg? They're cool as a cucumber until they short circuit. That's a problem.
Pour water on them, see what happens.
Now that I think about it, I didn't see him drink any water at the State of the Metro address today. By the way, a hot tip, if you're ever in a position of power, like Mayor Freddie O'Connell or anybody else for that matter, put the people up front. Put the people up front. That's another thing that annoyed me about the event today. It's a big room. I get it. It's a big room. There's a lot of interest. It was a full room. A lot of city employees. And I walked the room, and all of the city councilors got up front, and all of the department heads got up front, and all of the police and the firefighters and the muckety mucks and all of the city employees had reserved seating in the front of the room. And it was like taking up half the room. And the plebes, that would be the taxpaying citizens of Davidson County, they get to sit in back. If you want to impress me and you're the leader of a city like Nashville, put the people up front and let the city servants sit in back. Just a thought. Hey, real quick while I got y'all two here, do y'all think Trump did all that intentionally with Mike Waltz?
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, it floated for an hour this morning that he was fired.
Oh yeah.
Mike Waltz is fired. He's out. It's out. Done. See ya. Get out of here. Kick him. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Yeah. What was being reported was sources say
he's out.
He's out.
Well, I mean, I don't know the answer to this question, and maybe we can get an assessment on the super text line. If you're national security advisor versus ambassador to the United Nations, I mean, is that a lateral move? I don't think it's a promotion
I'd say
necessarily.
it was a demotion.
You think it's a demotion?
Yeah, I mean, ambassadors.
Yeah.
No offense if you're an ambassador, but I mean,
Sounds like a cush job.
you're not crucial to the security of the country, right?
I mean, what do you have to do as ambassador to the UN?
Glad hand.
You don't even have to do that.
Damn cushy job.
I mean, you can pull chairs out from underneath some of those world leaders. I mean, the UN.
I mean,
What is the UN really ever going to do?
Nothing. A lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of nothing. I mean, I guess you could. You could skirt some of those Muslims. You know.
Yeah.
They wear they don't wear the dresses. I should be nice. I don't know what they call them, but they wear the skirts. You know, they wear the. You know what I'm saying? They wear the dress, the robes, They wear the robes.
Yeah, they don't wear. Yeah, it's
you can't
robes.
pants them. You'd have to skirt them.
Yeah, they're not in suits.
No, they're not in suits. They're in. What's under those robes?
What you do is you do like they do in hockey, you know, where they pull the jersey over the other guy's head when they're fighting. That's what you do. You just pull it up over their head.
Over the head.
Then you see what's up under there.
Take that, Abdullah.
What does the U.S. ambassador have to say about this? Y'all can go pound sand.
I guess it is, but maybe this is Trump's play to prevent the media from mischaracterizing it as a quote-unquote firing. I don't know. We'll talk about it in a moment. Right now, we're going to go to you on the phones, many of you waiting patiently to speak on the conversation between myself and Freddie O'Connell, the mayor of Nashville in the metro Davidson County area. Look, as much as I disagree with him, I disagree with his characterization. I disagree with what he's doing, and I'll die on that hill. I am glad that he's willing to come on. I'll give him that. Maybe no more, but, it seems good so far. Caitlin is next up on the show. Hey, Caitlin, how are you?
Hi, Matt. I'm so sorry if you hear planes. I had to start gardening. I was angry. But first off, thank you for being our voice and being angry and getting angry with them, because I don't feel like they hear it enough. Second, what can we do besides, I am politically educated, besides voting them out? What do we do besides calling our councilman and calling the mayor's office and saying, please don't do this? What do we do? Is there anything we can do to stop it?
Got to show up to the city council meetings. That's the only thing. We have to show up in numbers. And look, I appreciate the people that were down there today. I would say that it was a focused and energetic crowd, but it was relatively small, probably 30, maybe 40 people. I appreciate every single person that went during it's a school day today. It's a work day today. So I'm glad of that, but we need numbers in the city council chambers. If we are now, I could give up and say nothing could stop it, but if they have genuine fear that they're going to get booted out of office as a result of this vote, then you might see a change of attitude with regard to the city council.
Unfortunately, I just don't have the faith in my fellow Davidson County voters. But I will keep fighting the good fight along with you. So thank you for being our voice.
Caitlin, thank you. I appreciate the call and I appreciate the sentiment. 5811 says, regarding the conversation we were just having about the UN.
Yeah.
Said, y'all watch it. They're probably going commando under there, Murphy. Harry Torres under that skirt.
Oh, he'll drive up there from Burger Street.
Call back. Love the call back.
Yeah.
Oh, you miss a moment. You miss a lot on the Matt Murphy Show. It's Larry's turn in Clarksville. Hey, Larry, what's up?
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard act to follow, man. First of all, shout out to Brother Ken and Chris, and thank you and the Redheaded Stranger for, doing what you guys do. But my ex is a younger, very liberal attorney, and I texted her last week and I said, have you heard about what, Uncle Freddie is about to do? And she responded with, my property appraisal went up 57% from last year, but my property taxes went up 75%. And that's before what Uncle Freddie is about to do. They're going to drive people out of Nashville. Now, you, E, and Pam can move to Montgomery County, or Brother Ken if he wants to. We're too poor out here for Chris, But it is absolutely ridiculous, Matt.
Well, and some are asking. Well, and let me pause for a second, Larry, because some are asking, okay, well, what impact does this have on us? I live in Hendersonville, or I live in Columbia, or I live Tullahoma, whatever. The impact is simple. The more you tax people out of Davidson County, the more burden you're going to put on the overall metropolitan area, because the people that are moving there need city services too. And so those cities are going to be faced with a choice, either to decrease on some level the amount of city services received in those communities or increase taxes on their own. So it will have a residual impact on everybody in the metropolitan area.
Exactly, sir. Anyway, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call.
Larry, thank you.
And Hank says hello.
Hey, Larry, how's the ticker? You doing all right?
It's down to 10%, man.
Come on, man.
Day by day.
Come on. Well, Larry, I've met you. You're all heart. So 10% of yours is probably worth about 80% of somebody else's.
Well, you're a good man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
Bye.
I can't lose Larry. I need all of them I can get.
Hadn't heard from Larry in a while.
I know.
I'm glad. Good to hear from him again.
Said his heart's down to 10%, though, Ken. Golly.
That's
no good. I don't like that either. Let's go, Larry. Let's get it going. Let's get some blood pumping. 19 after the hour, we'll get to Jimmy and Andrew. A couple of lines available right now. If you have thoughts on the proposed increase in your taxes in Davidson County, now's the time to get there. Or on our interview with Mayor Freddie O'Connell that happened last hour. We'd love to hear from you. 20 after 4 on Super Talk. If you're looking to upgrade your kitchen, or you're looking to upgrade the cabinets in the bathroom, or you're looking to upgrade your closet space, you need to get with Cabinet Solutions. We talk to Tony on a day-to-day basis. Tony probably not calling in today because he's afraid I'll yell at him too, like I did Mayor Freddie O'Connell. No, I'm just kidding. Tony's busy. He's helping folks with cabinets. He's helping people look, Mother's Day's around the corner, and as Tony mentioned, what about a home run gift? Just schedule an appointment with Tony and his team at Cabinet Solutions and tell your wife, we are going in and we are going to completely redo our closet space, and we're going to make it a luxury experience. When you walk into that closet and you see all of those shoes and you see all of those outfits right there laid out for you in luxury style, you're going to know it came from Cabinet Solutions. What about that for a Mother's Day gift, huh? A little sanctuary away from everybody else. You can have it at Cabinet Solutions. Here's how you start. Go to mycabinetsolution.com. That's mycabinetsolution.com. And contact Tony and his team. Just fill out the contact form. He's going to call you right back. That goes directly to Tony, and he's going to schedule an appointment for you to go and see the beautiful showroom space that is in Hendersonville at My Cabinet Solutions.
Property tax increase and a sushi restaurant in Nashville is under investigation by the health department. We'll tell you about that at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
What? Not one of mine.
Woo!
Are you going to name names at 4:30?
Oh, I'm going to do it.
I can't wait for that. I love some sushi.
I don't know about that sushi.
You're not a sushi guy, Ken?
I
would have. I don't know that I would have gotten a bet on this, but I would have won a lot of money on that bet.
He likes his fish battered and fried.
I believe that. Yeah, I could have bet on that one.
I don't know about raw fish.
You don't,
especially whenever you are like right in the middle of the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean.
Here's the deal.
That's a long way to go.
And I'm not. I get it. I mean, I get that, sure. But here's what I would tell you, Ken.
What's that?
Is that you and I go to a sushi joint, okay? Mm-hmm. And we enjoy like some salad. With some ginger dressing on it and maybe some miso soup. And this is way before we're going to delve into fish. And then I'm going to get us some hot sake.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, now that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if I don't know what I'm doing.
And say, there you go.
Well, see, then you just add you a cold beer to that and then do you a little sake bomb. You ever done one of those?
I have not.
Where it's basically like a drop shot. You put the sake into the beer and then down the hatch.
I've done an Irish car bomb. I've never done a sake bomb.
Yeah.
But at 7:30 tonight, I will not be able to say that anymore. Because I'm all in. I love me some hot sake. I could tell you about a night in Tallahassee, Florida with a couple of buddies and myself. I mean, I guess there was about 6 of us. And all I remember is about 10 o'clock at night, the entire table was just yelling to the back, Sake! That's how the night ended.
Yeah,
they finally told us that we needed to leave.
Imagine that.
We wouldn't let them take the empty sake containers. And finally they said, we're out of sake containers. You need to give us the empty sake containers. That's sake, boy. It'll get you. All right, 27 after the hour. Let's talk to Mr. Jimmy, who is on the road. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. Thank you for calling.
No problem. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm a long-time listener, and I listen to you in every state of the union that I travel into, so on iHeart. So there you go, guys. On this property tax thing, you might want to look statewide because in Warren County where I live, I have 3 pieces of property that's adjoined. The one my house owned doubled. The empty properties tripled in value, assessment value.
The empty property tripled?
The empty property, the unimproved property tripled, and the house doubled.
Wow. What is that? That Warren County, that's, was that McMinnville out there?
Yes, sir. McMinnville, yeah. Yeah, so, it's just been crazy.
Well, I mean, Mr. Jimmy, you're 100% correct. I mean, this is the way that local municipalities, the state of Tennessee doesn't allow it to go this way, which is why we have the Equalization Act, right? Equalization forces these politicians to be at least a little more honest with the constituents. Because what politicians will do, I think in California, and I've never been to California in my life. So I try not to speak about things I don't know about, but I feel like I understand California as much as the next guy. Never been to the shaky side. That's what California is, right? It's the shaky side. But I think in California, they have a proposition that whatever you buy your house for, that's what you pay property taxes on, and it never goes up. You can tell me my value is whatever you want to tell me, but I'm paying my property taxes on the amount of money that I spent on the house, which, in my opinion, should be the law of the land everywhere. If you buy a house, because you're not seeing, they can tell you that property's worth anything they want, right? And they can be right, but you don't see any of that if you own it. If you buy a piece of property for $250,000 and then they come at you and they say, well, that property's worth $1 million, so you have to pay it. I'm not seeing any of that money. So why should I have to pay? Or I'll give you another idea. If I were king of Nashville, and I should be, I would say this. Y'all can assess my property at any amount of money you want to assess my property at. But whatever you assess my property at, if I call my chip in, you have to just cut me a check. Right? So let's see those assessments then, City of Nashville. In other words, I bought my property 5 years ago for $300,000. And you coming at me now telling me it's worth $600,000. Okay, I'm calling him a chip. Cut me a check. Let's go. You think it's worth $600? Then sell it for $600. It'll be all good. And then you can get your property taxes. How about that? As the old saying goes, cash me outside. How about that? Y'all remember that? Never mind. I'm in a mood. It's 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.430 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Everybody's under a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather tonight. Got you the details during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Well, property owners in Nashville whose value increased by more than 45%, you're going to be paying higher taxes. During the 62nd annual State of the Metro address, Channel 4's Brandon Tierney says Mayor Freddie O'Connell said it was necessary to provide the resources he says Nashvillians need. And then he had something for the people protesting any tax increase outside.
At one point, the mayor even directly called out people protesting the increase.
These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency.
O'Connell says his proposed 2.8% property tax rate is still one of the lowest of major cities across the country.
Yeah, well, the protesters say get that money from somewhere else, and they say they are going to continue to be on the mayor and Metro Council about it. By the way, the mayor's budget now goes to the Metro Council. Also in Nashville, the Metro Public Health Department's investigating a restaurant following reports of food poisoning. The Sushi Train restaurant on White Bridge Road. Officials claim they found 18 violations during inspections. As for diners, they complained about rapid onset of food poisoning symptoms on the online platform iwaspoisoned.com. The Tennessean says the Public Health Microbiology Foundation identified Staphylococcus aureus food poisoning in the Sushi Train restaurant's food. That can make someone sick within 30 minutes to 8 hours of eating. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police say there's a crash over by Belmont. The on-ramp partially blocked, 65 northbound from Wedgwood Avenue. Then we've got 65 northbound at Armory Drive. There in Berry Hill, right shoulder blocked by that crash. In Jolton, Highway Patrol says there is a crash 24 westbound between exits 31 and 24. Police still showing a crash 40 eastbound over by the airport. Now in Franklin, Highway Patrol says the right lane is blocked by a crash, 840 westbound after Lewisburg Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You didn't like my idea? You didn't like it?
That was a fine idea.
Thank you. I'll tell you what my idea is in just a minute. It involves Ken Weaver. But right now, I'm going to tell you about USS, United Structural Systems. I have another idea. Why don't you call USS? If you're a little concerned about your foundation of your home, if you're a little concerned because you're smelling smells that you don't think you ought to smell, like musty or moldy smells coming from your basement or crawl space, these could be examples of water getting in. And so often, waterproofing issues and foundation issues walk hand in hand, because when water gets in, it's going to erode, it's going to do things that it ought not do to the foundation of your home. You need to handle this, folks. Go ahead and make the call to USS. They can save you a lot of money on the back end, and it doesn't have to be that expensive on the front end. USS. Homeowners simply trust USS. For the last 30-plus years, they've been doing so, and almost 30,000 satisfied satisfied residential customers in the process. That's a lot of customers satisfied with the work and efficiency of United Structural Systems. Homeowners simply trust USS. You will too. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com to find out more, or give them a call at 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS, United Structural Systems. All right, listen up, folks. What I'm about to tell you is important to your health and your well-being. I want you to call my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville today. I'm about to give you a telephone number to call Dr. Mitchell, to call Dr. Ashley, to find out how they can assist you. Not if, how they can assist you in your back pain, your neck pain, your knee pain, your hip pain, your elbow pain. If you're hurting on your body, you need to call Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, because without pills and without spinal creams, they can assist you in your pain. Now, look, folks, sometimes you need surgery. I mean, that is a fact. But most people need to exhaust other remedies first, because your pain can be alleviated through techniques like non-surgical spinal decompression. And right now, at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they are offering 47% off in celebration of our 47th president of the United States of America. Look, friends, I've made the switch, and I want you to make the switch too. Go see the incredible modern facilities that are the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Go to painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009. 246-5009. I'm Matt Murphy, and the Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. No, I just thought of a promo. You know that that Nashville girl, whatever her name was, the one that went famous because of that little meme. The Hawk,
last year?
Yeah, the Hawk Tua girl. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That girl. I think we need to do a promo about the newsroom. And you know, when Ken Weaver does the news, he puts the Talk Tua on that thing. Super talk. You know what I mean? Is that good? I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to pass muster.
Is that Amandus? Did I just pull Amandus kind of a little bit?
Maybe.
It's a little better than Amandus, I think. Super talk. Talk Tua. Let's talk Tua. Huh? Jim. We'll get to bed in a moment. Hey, Jim, what's going on, brother?
Oh, man, enjoying life, living my best life.
I'm glad you are. What's on your mind?
Okay, Nashville, they run their tax base up high, and then they increase the value of the houses, which the houses are more expensive than they were. Okay, but if you tax those people to death, they're going to leave, and then you don't have the tax base to support the city that you're trying to, overgrow. Is that a long-term possibility?
Well, it's what happened. I mean, so other communities, the powers that be, the reason that the people like Freddie O'Connell and other members of the Metro Council don't care, they either don't really give a rip about putting pen to paper and figuring this out, or they're dependent on the idea that Nashville remains an it city. And for a lot of people that are coming from other communities where they're fleeing from the oppressive taxation, they still look at Nashville as a lower taxed area, right? So if you're
I agree.
And so what they do is that they are dismissive of the people that have been here for 25 years and can no longer afford to live in the city. And they tell you to go on out to the suburbs because they believe, and I'm not speaking directly for O'Connell or anyone else, but I think generally speaking, they believe that those people will be replaced by the California types that can afford to pay for it.
Yeah. I'm smelling Memphis, if you want to know what I mean.
I mean, Detroit, Memphis, I mean, there's a lot of communities that you can look at that taxed themselves into oblivion and created black holes. And
Yes,
and thank you for the call, Jim. There's a couple of ways that happens. A black hole, I call it the donut metropolitan effect, right? I saw it in Birmingham, Alabama, and I lived there for almost 20 years, where if you went into Birmingham, into the city of Birmingham. Now, Birmingham they did not have the benefit of metro government. Birmingham the metro area had 34 different municipalities. It was insane, right? But with that, you had 34 different mayors, you had 34 different city councils, and nobody could agree on anything. But in terms of the city of Birmingham, which was obviously the largest the largest municipality in the metropolitan area, they had when I first got there, there was 240,000 people. By the time I was done, it was almost into the hundreds. It was 200,000 people. They had lost about 40,000 people in population through attrition. I'm literally talking about death or movement, flight out of the city. And the folks would move out of the city because the city was crime-ridden. It is the fourth most dangerous city in America, I think. Remains the fourth most dangerous city in America in terms of crime rates. And taxation. Oppressive taxation. And it became a donut where the people that went to Birmingham because of the BJCC, the Metropolitan Complex down there, to go to a concert. They would go to the stadium to see Garth Brooks or whoever comes into town. And other than that, they stay the hell out of the city. They're not spending their tax dollars in the city. And it becomes a black hole. It becomes like the hole in the center of the donut where the population lives in the outer ring and the middle of the donut doesn't really see any growth. Nashville has the benefit of being an it city, so it is not a donut, but there is a danger of it becoming a donut if you lose some of the tourism and you tax your residents to oblivion and you start losing some of that tax base, as Jim has alluded to. Ben writes in and says, Winchester's full. I'm hearing a lot of that.
Same thing in Murfreesboro.
Is Rutherford County full, Ken?
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's at least 2,000 cars in front of you at every red light.
2,000?
Yes.
And all of them are on their phones.
Every one of them, except for me.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's saying Sumner County's full. Murray County's full. Well, there's folks coming. Betty is next up in Nashville with a thought on this. Hey, Betty.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you are.
Oh, I am until I heard O'Connell speaking.
What are your thoughts?
It's full of crap.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you what. I've been in Nashville for over 30 years, and Nashville has literally gone downhill every single year. He wants to go off on this, we need tax hikes. Well, Davidson County residents are getting screwed at every corner. They seriously are. Between their property taxes going up, sales tax goes up, their utilities go up. The utilities work against each other constantly. They don't get a break there. And the power board that he actually put in place, they don't have a clue what they're doing. So how can he sit there and say that he actually has Davidson County's residents' interests at heart? He can't. He's full of crap.
Well, but he needs more money.
Well, yeah, he needs a new swimming pool. That's what he needs, and that's probably what he'll get. How much of it is actually going back in his pocket?
I don't know is the short answer to that. I have not seen evidence, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, Betty, but I want to be clear. I've seen no evidence that Freddie's on the take. I think Freddie's a true believer in liberal policy.
I think he's a true politician. Absolutely. I do. I agree with you. But, when it comes down to it, the crime in Nashville has gone out of the roof. I mean, the crime is huge. So he's putting in more police precincts. I don't see that. And I'm literally on every section of Nashville every day. I work in Nashville, all over Davidson County. Nashville it's gotten dirty, so dirty over the years. It's almost an embarrassment to have tourists even come here.
Well, they're still coming.
Yeah, they're still coming. That they are.
I mean, they're still coming. And, until they stop coming, I think we'll survive. Now, some of the residents of Davidson County will survive outside of the county. But, at some point, if you do not focus, and Freddie was talking a good game on crime today during his State of the Metro address. I'm going to dig into some of these numbers and figure these things out, because I'll tell you what, the perception of crime in the metropolitan region is not what Freddie said it was during his State of the Metro. He said violent crime was down, property crimes are down. That's not my perception whatsoever. And I can't for the life of me, if he truly believes in LPRs, and he said he did on the show today, I nailed him down. I said, if you had the decision, he goes, yes, I would do LPRs. Well, then why aren't you using your power, the position that you hold, the bully pulpit that you have, to push these concepts to the Metro Council? I don't understand it.
I don't either. That kind of blew my mind. And then what's worse is, do you even realize how many homeless people we have on every corner?
A lot of them.
You cannot stop at a red light without a homeless person hitting you up for money. Nashville never used to be that way. Nashville used to be historical and old money, and it was actually a really nice place to be. What happened to that? And what it comes down to is he's trying to actually make Davidson County bigger than what it is. People don't want to live outside of their means.
Well, and they're also depending on, and thank you, Betty, for the call. I think they're depending on outside money to make up for the people that they're pushing out. And I just want to speak for the people that are being pushed out, the people that can't afford it. I mean, and I understand that many of you that live in Davidson County that are listening, I mean, many of you live outside of the county and you don't think that it'll impact you directly. And it probably will not impact you directly, not today, not tomorrow, but it will eventually as the suburbs become more and more packed. As far as Davidson County goes, I just don't see anyone. I mean, I say I don't see anyone. I see the Nashville Tea Party and Ben Cunningham speaking up. I see the Davidson County GOP folks speaking up. I see Pamela and AFP folks speaking up. I try to speak up. For those who simply can't afford this, you are being priced out of the city. And we hear about, and I understand in any bigger city, Nashville's a pretty big community. I think it's a top 40 city in the United States of America. And so with any big city, you're going to have the typical big city problems. You're going to watch empty WeGo buses, and you're going to see homeless people, and you're going to have panhandling, and you're going to have a level of crime that you don't have in the smaller communities. And we all get that. We all understand that. But that's the job old boy signed up for. And I don't see it getting better. Freddie says it's getting better. Oh, Freddie touted the school systems today. Said, oh, yeah, the school systems are getting better. Are you proud of the school systems? Metro Nashville school systems amounts for like 37% of the overall budget. Metro Nashville public schools, like 37% of the Metro budget. I don't think you're getting your money's worth. Christopher writes in and says, didn't Freddie O'Connell say when he was first elected, Nashville needs to be more like California? I would be surprised if Freddie said that. Even if Freddie thinks that, I don't think Freddie would say that. Nobody wants to be more like, have you been to I've never been to California. I've seen pictures. A lot of dirt. A lot of poo. You seen San Francisco, there's just poo everywhere. There's a poo tracker. Have y'all seen the poo tracker?
A poo tracker?
Yeah, there was in San Francisco, they had a poo tracker for a while, Ken.
Goodness.
People would go around the city, and there was an app where you could identify where there were piles of human feces on the sidewalk, and they would, kind of like a Waze app, the Waze app where you identify where the cops are and where the accidents are.
Pothole ahead.
Right.
Yeah. Poo pile ahead.
Poo pile ahead. Watch your feet. Yeah.
Goodness.
Food tracker. So whether Freddie thought that or not, I don't think he would say it out loud. 49 after the hour, more calls on the way. We will get to more national conversation. We'll talk about Mike Waltz. We'll talk about the Supreme Court weighing whether or not Donald Trump can ban transgender individuals from the military, which seems like a no-brainer to me. Elian Omar went insane on a conservative reporter that asked a simple question and got an FU in response. We'll talk about that. It's all to come on The Murphy Show. You probably are aware, because you've been outside a time or two today, that it's getting hotter as the days go on. I mean, obviously, it's May 1 now. Before you know it, it will be summer. And it will be hot, hot, hot. Well, that's a strain on your AC unit. And Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, they know that. Summer maintenance on your unit is very important. I encourage you to do it during the spring, right? I mean, I think this is important. But if you've waited, if you've not done it as of yet, I encourage you to go ahead and make the call to Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Here's a couple of things you need to know. One, the maintenance guarantee. The maintenance guarantee is simple. If you have a maintenance, if you do maintenance on your AC unit with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, and I encourage you to do it, then if they have to come back out during this summer and do anything with your AC, they're going to waive the service call on that visit, because they don't think that you should have to pay for that twice, which is quite nice. Number two, the second thing you need to know is you're never going to pay over $125 for a maintenance call at a residential unit, and that doesn't matter and it doesn't matter how many units you have at that residence. The charge will never be over $125, and oftentimes it's going to be a lot less than that. That's what they do at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy says if your AC is not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, 615-784-4424. 784-4424 or efficienthvac.net.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase. Manhunt's underway for a man police say intentionally drove into a group of people outside a preschool. These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm glad we got a percentage on it now. 26%. That's...
Yeah.
Someone has done the math. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it's about $2 and I want to say $2.84 per $100 of assessed value.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. So you account for the 45% of assessed value increase, and then you account for the amount. Yeah, and so it's a 26% property tax. I like that.
That according to reports by Axios.
Thank you for doing the math, Axios.
Yes,
so
sir.
that we don't have to. But we'll trust that math. Also, some of you weighing in on the super text line, and I've been remiss in getting to some of those. A lot of people living in the various communities in and around Middle Tennessee saying that they're full.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one thing about Murfreesboro, too, is there are spiders the size of goats.
Oh, stop it.
And,
I'm looking for a place.
We all know that's not true, Ken, because you live there and you hate spiders.
Well, they don't bother me because I've got a beard like a goat. and a little fat wiener dog.
Spiders the size of goats in Murfreesboro.
Yes,
that's
sir.
what you're saying?
Oh, stay away.
Lava flows.
You don't want it.
Lava flows out of the volcanoes in Murfreesboro.
Right.
You don't want to be around here.
No, sir.
No, get away. Bunch of liberals down in Murfreesboro. You don't want to be here. I was thinking, you know what? I was thinking about moving to Murfreesboro. And then I drove to Murfreesboro on I-24.
Yeah.
And then I stopped thinking about moving to
What'd you think about that, Brother Murphy?
Stop thinking about that. That's a tough haul.
Dude, Jennifer and I live probably 3 miles from I-24.
Mm-hmm.
It takes us 15 minutes to get there sometimes.
That's just 5 minutes a mile. What are you complaining about?
Yeah. That's all it is.
I tell people that are from around, I live out in Mount Juliet, and 40 is fine until people are like, what's the traffic like? I was like, it's fine until it's not.
I love those words you say.
And then when it's not, you are
right.
It is foobar, baby.
Yes, sir.
Katie Bar the foobar. Awful. Now, Ken, you've started something. Somebody 0480 goes, there's sinkholes in Clarksville.
Well, there are actually. Have you been seeing that story about that poor man?
I have seen that story. What is going on there?
Good grief.
Good Lord. Ray writes in and says, Murfreesboro got a huge landfill situation.
Yes, they do.
Uh-huh. And 4574 says, Matt, even though we're full, we'll make room for you in Ashland City. I'm thinking about Ashland City.
You know what? That's Cheatham County, right?
Uh-huh.
Cheatham County may be untapped for now.
I'm thinking about.
But look, they're coming, though.
Just push just beyond Pegram over there.
Yeah.
Up toward Ashland City over there.
Yeah.
That's God's country over there. You can get you about 4 acres over there and pee anywhere you want. Nobody will see you.
Now people in Cheatham County are going to be spreading.
Hitting me up. You get them out of here.
We got big spiders too.
We got Bigfoots over here. Brian, new state motto: Tennessee is full. Moose out front should have told you. Tennessee's closed. Moose out front should have told you. All right, we're halfway done. We'll get to Leslie's call in a moment. If you're on line 1 or line 3, hang in there. We'll get to you as well. We will also get to some national headlines coming up from Matt's perspective. Right now, headlines from Ken Weaver's News Closet B on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and everyone in Middle Tennessee looking at a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather tonight. Full forecasted traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase, he says, to pay for services he says will otherwise go away. He took a swipe at protesters outside his State of the Metro address this morning.
These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency.
Well, what they would say is, Mr. Mayor, find the money to do it without raising everybody's taxes. Mayor O'Connell proposed a 13% bump in schools funding and $45 million to affordable housing initiatives as part of his budget, which the council must approve by July 1st. Listen to what is going on right now in South Carolina. Phil Lipoff says police in Sullivan's Island are searching for a driver responsible for ramming into a group of pedestrians today.
3 people struck, 2 juveniles, 1 adult. 2 people had to be taken to the hospital. 1 person was treated there at the scene and then released to family members. The troubling thing about this is it is being investigated as intentional. And they are looking for a suspect right now who they say is on foot. The description is bald with a beard, armed with a knife.
And across the nation, May Day rallies. Here's one in L.A.
In the streets of L.A., thousands of people marched, many taking part to protest the Trump administration's policies impacting immigrants and their families. This man in the crowd sang,
"People are seeing that democracy is under attack, and I think that's really creating an urgency for folks to actually show up."
Back in 2006, May Day rallies shifted from honoring workers to being more focused on immigration. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
On the subject of immigration, a Trump-appointed judge has ruled against using a centuries-old law to deport alleged gang members without a hearing.
It's a repudiation of the White House's legal strategy. Judge Fernando Rodriguez says the president cannot summarily declare that an invasion has occurred to rely on the use of the Alien Enemies Act. Appointed by President Trump and confirmed in 2018, Rodriguez points to the dictionary definition and historic meaning of the word invasion and finds the president hasn't shown how the Tren de Aragua gang aims to conquer the country or assume control over a portion of it.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got crashes getting in the way. Right now, we got an accident blocking the left lane, 24 eastbound at New Salem Highway in Murfreesboro. In Berry Hill, got a crash blocking the second left lane, 65 northbound after Armory Drive. Belmont, right lane is blocked. Crash there, 65 southbound before Wedgwood Avenue. In Bellevue, got a crash there, Highway 70 at I-40 West. Near the airport, Off-ramp partially blocked 40 eastbound to exit 216A. In Williamson County, a crash reported 40 westbound at exit 182. And in Brentwood, a crash reported 65 northbound before Old Hickory Boulevard South. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You just getting off work, you've missed a lot. 2 full hours of the Matt Murphy Show. You need to go back and listen. I don't say that often, but I think you do. It is a Thursday, May 1 edition. Thank you for being around. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of it. We've got lots to get into in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll perhaps revisit our conversation to a certain degree with Mayor Freddie O'Connell, the mayor of Metro Nashville, Davidson County. We shall discuss with you the decision on the part of the Trump administration to remove Mike Waltz from his position as National Security Advisor and to nominate him as UN Ambassador. One would consider that a demotion, I suppose. I think it's a less influential or less important post, especially considering everything that's going on in the world with regard to conflict, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Hamas, etc., and some of the other foreign policy initiatives that needed to be interacted with in terms of our national security. So you have that. By the way, Marco Rubio has now like 8 jobs, apparently. I had this pulled up a little while ago, and I've had so many of you corresponding with us on the super text line, and I lost it. But Marco Rubio is like, he has 4 different jobs now. He's interim head of, well, I guess USAID is really no longer a thing. It was absorbed by the Secretary of State and the Secretary of State's office. But he is now acting National Security Advisor. He is Secretary of State, obviously. He is the sort of acting director of USAID, which has been absorbed into the State Department. There was one other thing that he was doing. I can't remember. So he has like 4 different posts. And by the way, I don't know if I always liked Marco Rubio as a senator. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like he was a little bit too establishment to be a part of the Trump administration. Marco Rubio has been a pleasant surprise for me in the first 102 days of the Donald Trump administration. If you believe so, let me know on the super text line. If you disagree, let me know on the super text line. You can give us a call, 615-737-9986. 1733, see back there? 1733 writes, police are searching for a man that's bald with a beard. Huh. Kind of sounds like somebody I know. That's from 1733, Ken.
I'm not bald. I just shaved my head.
Oh, I mean.
Technical, you know.
I mean, isn't that kind of the same thing, though? I mean.
No, sir.
Okay, all right.
Because I've got hair on my head.
Okay.
It's not just skin.
Look, I'm just the messenger. I'm just telling you that 1733 is suggesting that maybe the police are looking for you.
And it wouldn't bother me if I was bald either. I mean, what the heck? I'm still a good-looking fella.
You are a fine-looking man. Fine-looking man. And
ask my mom.
I am comfortable enough in my masculinity, Ken, to tell you that I think you're a good-looking fella.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I would look horrible bald. Awful. I've long said that my lack of hair loss is proof that there is a God and he is fair. Because he gave me a full head of hair, but he gave me a lumpy head. Now, I don't know if it was God or my mama, but if I look at the ground at a 45-degree angle, you can put a Coke can on top of my head. It sits right on top of it. That's how flat my head is. It's awful.
It is a bit square looking.
Well, thank you, Weber. I'm glad you noticed.
Just an observation.
I mean, but I'm just telling you, it would be it's bad enough as it is. It would be exponentially worse if I were bald. There's no hiding. Have y'all noticed how men that go like, I'll give the man credit where he deserves it. Dan Mandis, bald is.
Oh yeah, it fits.
But I mean, it fits him, and nice round head.
Yeah. He's got the head for it.
He's got the head for it. That's right.
Yeah.
And he's finally gotten some sun on that head. I mean, Amy's been good for that man.
Oh, yes.
She's been good for that man. I mean, he's got the glasses gone. He's got some sun on his head. Looks younger than the day I met him.
Yes,
younger than the day I met him.
You should have seen what he looked like the day I met him.
He lost a lot of weight, right?
A lot of weight.
Yeah, me too.
And he used to go with he used to have the old horseshoe.
Yep.
He just wouldn't let go of it for a long time, you know?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because Chris and I came on almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Dan actually started the same day.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was April 1st, 2014.
Huh. No fooling.
No fooling.
I wonder if we took a vote on who was the better hire.
Oh, there's no question about that.
You. I mean, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's Chris Webber.
That's 2 votes for you.
Hey, you know what?
That's all I need.
My nincompoops involves a bald man.
Does it now?
It does, man. Y'all are going to like my nincompoops tonight.
Is he head naked? He's naked.
He's definitely head naked.
But his name is Harry.
I'm telling you.
going to meet Harry Torres.
I'm telling you, you could. I told you last night, you could redo that story today, and you would still win. Nickelboop said the dudes.
Oh,
it was a
my
fun
gosh.
Sally says, I'm sorry, Ken. This is the first time I'm ever going to disagree with you. If you shave your head, you're bald.
No, being bald means there's no hair on your head.
Great debate.
I have hair on my head. It's all over my head.
This is what I love about what
I
we
might
do.
stop shaving my head now.
This is what I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
Well, but see, here's the problem. If I grow my hair, then I have headphone hair all day.
Uh-huh. And
that's a challenge.
And we can't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the way that Weber and I suffer on a day-to-day basis with the headphone hair.
Well, and I mean, you know, in my convenience store parking lot wrestling matches, the bald head looks a little bit more intimidating.
Does Murphy have Herman Munster head? 100%. 100%.
Are there bolts sticking out of that neck?
Maybe. You know, you'll never know. But I 100% have Herman Munster head. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not flat like if I'm looking forward, but if I look down like this, if you're watching on Talk TV, you can just put a Coke right there.
Right at the crown.
Just sit it right there on the top of the head, just like that, and it would just sit there.
Look at that. Ooh, look at that.
It just sits there.
Wait. Take your hand down and see if it'll stay.
Well, it's full, and if it doesn't stay, then I'm in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd have to drink a little bit of that. By the way, folks have taken it upon themselves on the Super Talk text line.
Yeah.
To tell us what's going on in their individual communities and why people are not allowed to come.
Let's hear some of them, man.
There's meth and copper thieves in Cheatham.
Copper thieves.
So, whatever you do, don't come to Franklin. Worst place in the world.
Oh.
6196. Werewolves in Gallatin. Y'all stay safe and stay away.
Well, that may be true. That fella you talked to that time.
Well, that's right. David, I think his name's David.
Yeah, David. He said there's evidence of Bigfoot over in Wilson County, and that's close to Gallatin.
9899. Lawrenceburg has tremors. You don't want none of that. Larry said the sinkholes in Montgomery are just for the libs. Ashland City, gangs, drive-bys, drug dealers. Stay away. Don't come to Cheatham County. Dixon County's filled to the max too.
Dang, well, they just want you to stay way away.
We got crackheads and snakes in Ashland City.
Crackheads and snakes.
And they team up.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah.
They're
friends.
They're buddies. Yeah, crackheads are buddies with the snakes. If we wanted you to live in Williamson County, we would have invited you. Okay, well then, you say no more. Stay out of Robertson County. We got kudzu. No, wait. I said it wrong. Kudzu. He said we got kudzu tsunamis. How do I pronounce this, Ken? Is it Castellayan Springs?
Castallion.
Castallion Springs has alligators and pythons. Sinkholes in Clarksville. Davidson County has vacancies. Well, that's true. Trousdale County's full, too. You don't want to come here. We got rednecks. So that's just a few.
Rednecks.
Yeah, well.
There are no rednecks in Tennessee. What are they talking about?
Hartsville. Oh, now people are really. I would say those were the ones that were already in. Now people are really going after it. Meth gators in Houston County.
Ooh, meth gators.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
You think cocaine bears are bad? Wait till you see a meth gator.
I forgot about that movie.
Don't worry about where Walter Hill is. Seriously, don't look it up and don't come.
It doesn't even really exist.
Isn't that where that's where that big Murfreesboro landfill is, I think.
No internet in Warren County. Robertson County has armadillo. We just shoot them.
That one's true.
They tore all the bridges down in Mount Pleasant. Can't get out or in.
Oh.
I mean, y'all are funny. And then my good friend Tim, and there's a lot more at Mothman. Laverne's got Mothman. Murray County has Florida Man. Gallatin, meth capital of Sumner. And then Tim says Hendersonville's got El Chupacabra. Just a few of the places you don't want to move in and around the greater metropolitan area of Nashville. Robert is next on the road. Robert, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing today?
Robert, I'm great. I hope you are.
The taxes in Davidson County. I'd like to know where my tax dollars are going because I don't have any services from Davidson County. I don't get police protection, fire protection. I have to call. What was it?
I was going to ask. You live in Davidson County?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. North side of Davidson. I'm right on the county line.
But you don't get fire protection?
Last time my lawnmower caught on fire, my riding mower caught fire a few years ago in the grass or in the leaves. After 15 minutes of calling 911 twice, I called the neighboring county, and within 15 minutes of calling them, I had 6 different fire departments out there before Metro ever showed up.
Oh, so you got it. It's just slow.
Extremely slow.
Yeah.
And with when I told 911 there was over 500 acres in danger of burning, they said two men in one truck.
2 men in one truck.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
so
not
if I hadn't called the neighboring county, there would have been a major fire.
Well, Robert, I'm glad you got it fixed. I mean, look, nobody is justifying that the city services provided by Davidson County are not nearly justifying the amount of money that it costs you to live there. I would agree with you 100%.
No, my house note goes up constantly because of taxes.
Well,
the insurance has went up because of the lack of fire protection. The insurance company said they can't count the neighboring county that can respond to me. I'm covered by Metro, but Metro has such a slow response, makes my insurance rate go up.
Well, who told them about the response?
They do it. Apparently, insurance companies do a study every so often about it, and fire departments are rated. They have some kind of, I don't forgot what it's called. They have a rating, insurance safety rating or something like that.
Hey, Robert, I have a relatively unrelated question for you.
Yes, sir.
Was your lawnmower a total loss?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Was it a fuel problem? Spark problem? What was it?
No, leaves. The amount of leaves.
Yeah, built up in
and
it.
Every time I moved the mower and tried to put out that fire, I turned around and looked, and there's another fire.
I'm sorry, don't mean to laugh.
I finally quit worrying about the mower, and Yeah, I finally quit worrying about the mower. Me and my son kept trying to keep the fire from spreading, waiting on help. And like the lawnmower went first. And
yeah, that's too bad. I'm sorry about that. I know it wasn't funny at the time that it happened, but I'm just envisioning you running around the backyard with flames coming out of the back of that lawnmower. Pretty good.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Well, Robert, I'm sorry. Look, you won't get any argument out of me, and thank you for the call today. Obviously, the services, especially if you're on the outskirts, if you're on the county line, is probably less than desirable. 520 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Y'all are so funny. I can't even get to them all. Y'all are so funny. But for some reason, the one that makes me laugh the most of all of the ones that I'm getting, and I've gotten 3 times the number that I've said, somebody wrote in and says, I feel like we've missed Antioch.
That just kind of speaks for itself, I think.
I think it does. I don't know why it makes me laugh. 21 after the hour, Super Talk. Jason has a message for Robert. He said, Robert, God put those leaves there. He'll move them. I've got another message. Leaves are for leaving. How about that? Remember that one the next time you get told to rake the leaves. And remember this. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, if you find yourself waking up throughout the course of the night, I would encourage you to contact Dr. Brian McLaughlin and our friend, Dr. Stephen Poss, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Dr. Brian McLaughlin, what a great guy. I've had a chance to meet him. I've got an appointment next week. I'm going in. I've told you guys that I have the oral appliance, the fabricated oral appliance, the top-notch oral appliance that helps me sleep better throughout the course of the night. I breathe better. I don't stop breathing. I've got sleep apnea, and I'm sleeping great. I'm feeling energetic in the mornings. Thank you to the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. But Dr. McLaughlin suggested I come in just to make sure that my fit is what it should be, that it's where it should be. There's some adjustments that can be made by me and adjustments that can be made by Dr. McLaughlin. That's the type of service that you get with the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Know this. They're in-network for most insurance. You need to make this call. If you're not sleeping or you feel like you don't have energy in the mornings, the possibility of you having sleep apnea it's present. And if you do, you need to get a plan of action. This is FDA approved and it works. TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com. 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. TennesseeSleep.com. Genesis Diamonds is your one-stop destination for all things Mother's Day this year. This year, get Mama something that is timeless, meaningful, and special. You know, I understand you want to take her out to a nice dinner. A thoughtful card is important as well. But if you really want to let Mom know that she means something to the family and truly what she means to the family as the matriarch of the family, bring her home something from Genesis Diamonds. How about a birthstone ring or something elegant from Takori? Genesis Diamonds has non-commissioned experts, and they're going to match your budget and find something for Mama that she is going to love, not this year, not next year, but for years and years and years to come. Whether it's their first Mother's Day or their 60th Mother's Day, Mom deserves the gift that is anything but ordinary. And she receives that gift from Genesis Diamonds. I'm talking layered necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, colored gemstone pieces, all for you at Genesis Diamonds, and 2 locations to serve. Genesis Diamonds can be found in Green Hills and Cool Springs. Be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Genesis Diamonds.
Nashville property tax increase. Protesters say they're not giving up. Tennessee troopers looking for a driver from a deadly hit and run. And pressure cooker recall after 2nd and 3rd degree burns. These stories and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
26 minutes after the hour, nincompoops in the news coming up. And I'm going to make a prediction. I don't know. We don't talk about how we source our nincompoop stories.
Right.
We just, that's kind of an unspoken. You just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
But if we don't have a duplicate today, I don't know when we're going to have it. Based on the story that I found. Based on the story that I found, I would almost predict that one of you found the story too.
Well, mine is definitely not it, because mine is from a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might get lucky.
I might get lucky. And let me tell you something. If it's not a duplicate, I'm the big winner today. And I've only won like 5 of these things.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to see about that.
Well, we'll see about that, Baldy. By the way, in the midst of the amount of super texts that we're getting in from various communities telling us that those communities are full, there's a nice little debate going on as to whether or not you're bald if you shave your head, which I absolutely love that too. And I get what Ken's saying.
I have hair on my head.
Right. It's a choice that he's making.
There's a little bitty.
He's making a choice.
I would say if he had hair and he shaved it like clean shaved with a razor, then that would be considered bald. But Ken's is not clean shaven. He's got little stubble up there still.
So he's not bald.
I wouldn't consider it bald.
How much money do you think it would take? What do you think we could do to convince Mandis to grow the ring out again? Because I want to see it.
I don't.
There's got to be something.
He ain't gonna do it, man.
No, I don't think he would ever do it.
I mean, money for charity, pickleball challenge, something.
I don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
I would challenge him to pickleball, and I would be willing to cut like a reverse mohawk in mine.
Ooh. Now, you might.
If I lost.
Yeah, you might get it then.
Versus he has to grow his out for like 4 months if he loses.
Oh.
You think?
It's worth a shot.
Give it a go.
Either way, we're all winners in that outcome there.
Well, you're a winner.
Exactly.
In that outcome.
I need to just have a mohawk.
I mean, go for it. Remember Joe Hunk over the sports station?
Joe Hunk had a mohawk.
Yeah. He had a legit mohawk.
Yeah.
And it somehow worked for him.
Well, yeah, and he's young. So he still had color to his
Weaver,
hair.
you would look great in a mohawk. I'm not kidding.
I'd look insane.
Well,
more so than I do now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I had a listener emailed me and said I look just like the Soggy Bottom Boys singing "Man of Constant Sorrow."
Just need some overalls.
Exactly. You can't yank your beard down like Clooney did, right?
No, I can't.
I am a man. Federal judge has cleared the path, according to Fox News headline. It's cleared the path for targets of the Alien Enemies Act to retaliate against the Trump administration. We're going to talk about that after Nincompoops in the news. We'll get to more serious matters of a national import, such as Donald Trump has nominated Mike Waltz for a high-level position after He was relieved of his duties as National Security Advisor. That's at least the way that the Trump administration is putting it. And police are scrambling to find an armed driver who ran down kids in his automobile. That is not an nincompoop story. It's a very serious one, and we'll tell you the details of that coming up in just a moment. Plus your telephone calls, as always. It's time for the real news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Everyone in Middle Tennessee is under a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Tornadoes very low on the risk scale, but damaging wind and large hail seem to be the main threats. But again, we cannot rule out those tornadoes if these storms do indeed develop. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's proposing a 26% property tax increase he says is needed for services he says will otherwise go away.
We've stayed focused on a budget that delivers on the basics, continues what works, pays our public servants fairly, and delivers on the biggest needs and concerns of Nashvillians, including housing affordability.
Well, protesters outside say there is no reason to raise taxes. Find the money elsewhere.
All morning, people were outside of the Nashville Public Library chanting. A few told us that they moved to Nashville because of the low taxes and did not want to see them go up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell acknowledged that although it is the lowest rate in decades, some will still be paying more because their home values have gone up by more than the average of 45%.
Next up's the Metro Council, which must vote to approve the budget before July 1st, and protesters say they're going to keep up the pressure on those tax increases. The Tennessee Highway Patrol trying to locate the hit-and-run driver who killed a man on Old Nashville Highway in Laverne and Rutherford County this morning. Channel 4 spoke to one of the neighbors who says something needs to be done about that road.
It's just unfortunate that people are hitting and run things. For a family to have to suffer, what do? We can't fathom what's going on around. It's just a shock.
Pressure cooker recall. Shark Ninja recalling 1.8 million pressure cookers due to 106 reports of burn injuries that have sparked more than 24 lawsuits against the company. About 50 of those reports cited second or third degree burns to consumers' faces or bodies. These Shark Ninja pressure cookers we're talking about sold at Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, Amazon, and Target. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash. Looks like police reporting this one. 24 eastbound at New Salem Highway. That is in Murfreesboro. The left lane is blocked. In Antioch, got a crash. 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. In Brentwood, Highway Patrol reporting a crash. 65 northbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. Looks like near the airport, police say the off-ramp is partially blocked. 40 eastbound to exit 216A. And in Fairview, Highway Patrol reporting a crash, 40 westbound at exit 182. And over by Belmont, TDOT reporting a crash blocking the right lane, 65 southbound before Wedgwood Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, folks, U.S. Pest wants to talk with you. J.K. and Erica Brister, they want you to know they can't keep all the pests away from your property, right? Like the human being pests, but they can keep the bugs and the spiders and the roaches and the stink bugs and the ants and everything else that you want off your property of the bug variety. Full-service pest control available at U.S. Pest. Now, if you're unsatisfied with your current pest control situation, I invite you to call U.S. Pest. Let them come out and give you a free examination and inspection. If you do not currently have pest control, you're going to need it. In the state of Tennessee, we get inundated with these bugs and nasties. You've probably already seen some of them. You're just going to see more. The flea and tick season has just begun, friends. We need to stop this, especially if you have pets that go out in the yard. They're going to bring those fleas and those ticks inside of your house. Let's stop all that with U.S. Pest. Go to uspest.com for more information. They do termite protection with a 100% money-back guarantee, preventative and corrective services, full-service pest control, plus crawl space services. The purpose of pest control? Simple. To keep pests away from you. They protect you from those bugs that bug you. U.S. Pest. They're simply the best. uspest.com or 590-1260, 590-1260. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 37 minutes after the hour. Thank you for being around. It is Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Show alongside Chris Webber and Ken Weaver. We thank you for being out there. Nasty weather through our community, through Middle Tennessee, through the night. Ken has been telling you it's a level 2 out of 5, just to give you an indicate. But we're not saying, and Ken, you correct me if I'm wrong, we're not saying tornadoes.
Well, we are not ruling out tornadoes.
Okay.
Tornadoes are very low on the risk scale.
That's good.
Barely even a 1.
That's good.
But it's still there.
Still present.
There.
Still present. And,
cannot totally rule it out.
But yes, these are going to be, are these storms going to be, this is not like a line. These are like of the pop-up variety.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on radar, in fact, man, is just all of a sudden they're just popping up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like those.
No, those will catch you with your windows down if you let it.
Yes, sound like you know about that.
Yeah. A little musty smell in the back of my truck.
Oh.
Just a little musty smell.
That just makes the truck tougher.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I got accused of having ding marked. I was out at the campground the other day. I got accused of having ding marked. I was out at the campground the other day.
Yeah?
You know, the Grand Old RV Resort, Convalescence Home and Bat Meat Market. And Tommy was like, what are all those little dings in your truck? I was like, well, my grandpa told me that if you got a truck and you don't have a ding or two in it, you might as well just get yourself a 4-door sedan because you're not using that truck right. And Tommy said, well, I guess he's got a point. Anyway, all right, so if I don't win Nincompoops today, I might retire. That's how good this story is. That's how good this story is.
Dang.
We shall see.
We're going to see. I think Ken and I ought to play rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first and last. It's time for Nincompoops in the News, everybody.
Nincompoops in the News.
All right, Weber's not talking tough, so he's going to get to go first.
Okay.
And then I'm going to let Chris pick who goes second, who goes third. How about that? Is that fair, Weaver?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's time for Nincompoops in the News, where we deliver nincompoops from all over the globe, the country, the state of Tennessee at times, and we present them to you. You, as the listening audience, get to vote on your nincompoop of the day, and I think I'm going to be the big winner. Ken Weaver feels like he's going to be the big winner. Chris Weber laying low. You vote by dialing us up at 615-737-9986 on the super text line and let us know who the winner is. Normally, people are voting for Weaver even before the competition starts because they just like him better than us. So there you go.
Well, I was going to say, you saying that you're going to win today pretty much assures that you will not win today.
I feel like the story will stand for itself.
All right.
I feel like it will.
We'll find out.
All right. We shall see. Mr. Weber?
Richland, Mississippi is the site of this story. Police officer there pulled a vehicle over for a traffic violation on Highway 49 earlier in April. The officer smelled marijuana, and the driver, 58-year-old Carl Dimino, admitted to smoking and handed the officer the joint.
Huh. There you go, buddy.
The officer then carried out a probable cause search of the vehicle, which, not surprised on that one. And he found more than 120 ecstasy pills, more than 3 pounds of pure ecstasy, about 5 pounds of psychedelic mushrooms, 12 vials of pure LSD, nearly half a pound of marijuana, and 2 digital scales. Police say the street value of the drugs is around $200,000.
Jeez, Mandelli.
Dimino was arrested and charged with drug trafficking. Police said that he had been arrested more than 20 times before and had been convicted of at least a dozen felonies in 7 states.
Good gracious.
All because of a traffic violation. He's going back to jail.
There's a joint. I mean, what do you think was going to happen? He's just going to put it out and to let you go on your way?
Yeah.
I guess he knew he was busted, and so he was like, well, whatever.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
He'd been there before.
I mean, yeah, but that's true enough. At that point, you're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to run.
Yeah.
That's bad. Bad news. Well,
big dummy.
Poor fella.
I've said this a million times before. If you're going to break the law, do one law break at a time. If you're going to ride around with all those drugs in the car, maybe you shouldn't ride around smoking weed, and then you should follow all the rules of the road.
I've never understood when people have got like bricks of cocaine in the trunk of their car, and they're going 90 miles an hour down the interstate. I was like, what?
Real intellectuals.
What a brilliant strategy for you.
Yep.
That you don't have a tag on the back of the car. You go 90 miles an hour. You're begging to be pulled over, and you got bricks of cocaine in the back of the car.
Yeah.
What a moron. Chris Weber, who do you want to go next?
I'm going to make you go last. Ken Weaver.
All right. Here we go, boys. This from Boca Raton, Florida. A man was arrested after he allegedly attacked a father whose daughter cut in front of him in line for a buffet. By the looks of 52-year-old Mike Rohrer, he runs about 3 bills. Standing in line for the prime rib carving station at a wedding buffet in the Boca Lago Country Club, January 18th, 2 young girls cut in front of him. Rohrer was upset about the cutting. He confronted one of the girls' father about the incident. Here's what the responding police report says, and I'm quoting. This is from a deputy. The slimmer man ignored the man yelling at him and did not respond. Without provocation, the large, bald man struck the slimmer man on the head with a dinner plate.
We sure didn't shave.
Wow. From there on, a melee began between a large number of the wedding guests.
A melee.
An employee said the plate shattered on impact.
Yeah.
So Mr. Rohrer was arrested and charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Wow.
So it did involve some nudity. It was Mr. Rohrer's head.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing on it.
There's nothing on his plate either. That's why he got so mad.
I mean,
I
let me
want
tell
my
you,
damn prime rib.
the only thing more dangerous than getting between a fat man and a buffet is getting between a Democrat and a television camera. I'm telling you.
Well, I just love the way the deputy wrote that up. The slimmer man ignored the man yelling at him.
Should have ignored fat boy.
The fat bald fella
wanted his, what was it, prime rib?
Yeah. Wanted some prime rib. Is at the prime rib cutting station. Apparently they were running short, and this fellow was getting a little anxious.
A little antsy. Yep. Well, when you're promised free prime rib at the wedding reception,
yes, sir.
Got to do what you got to do.
If they'd have run out, the same thing would have happened. There'd have still been a melee.
Oh, yeah, there'd have been a melee and some provocation.
I admit, it's always a good story when there's a melee at a wedding.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Prospect Park, Pennsylvania is our location. Prospect Park police tell local news agencies about a poopatrator, a suspect that has been identified as 44-year-old Christina Solimento, who is now facing charges of indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, creating a hazardous and physically offensive condition, criminal mischief, property damage, harassment, and depositing waste on the highway.
A highway?
The Prospect Park police chief has said that they've spoken to Solimento on the phone and in person, and she's fully cooperated. She's not yet been taken into custody, but she will be turning herself in to be booked in the near future. Now, let me tell you about this holy crap moment. On video, which I can point you in the direction of this video if anyone wants to see it after the story.
I'll pass.
It shows the woman literally dropping a load on the hood of a car in Pennsylvania.
Goodness.
Here's the poop. I mean, the scoop. Pennsylvania police are investigating a road rage incident that quickly turned crappy when the woman jumped out of her vehicle and sprayed the other car with fecal matter.
Goodness. Ow.
Sprayed.
Worse, it was all caught on video. The disturbing clip shows the aggressor, dubbed on social media as the Delco Pooper, walking from her black car over to a silver sedan, squatting, and proudly defecating on the hood of the other vehicle.
Goodness.
She seems to be giddy as she walks away, leaving behind what has been described in the police report, I'm quoting,
All right.
as a splatter
Oh. Goodness.
of fecal matter.
Oh.
The victim in the case, driving the silver sedan, was constantly honking in the video while the dirty doo-doo is in progress. When she fully realized what happened, the victim in this case, and I am not making this up, leans her head out of the window and yells one word: slut.
That's the best you could come up with.
That's showing her.
That'll get her. Prospect Police Chief Dave Madonna tells local media that his department is fully aware of the incident and is treating it seriously while they investigate. He says the squabble occurred when one person cut off another person at the intersection of 4th Avenue and Madison in Prospect Park. Words were exchanged, and then it escalated to a pooping incident in which the perpetrator defecated on the hood of the victim's car. Possible charges in the case include, as I mentioned, criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, and it looks like the suspects, the last line of this story is, it looks like the suspects' bleeps and giggles won't be lasting much longer, as she is expected to be apprehended.
I was thinking they were going to say, if she's caught, she'll be in deep doo-doo. Now, I don't want to see this video, but was this video dash camera footage of the incident?
It was not. It was a fellow motorist took video up. So apparently this had escalated to the point that a motorist at the intersection, so the intersection was blocked, and another motorist at a 90-degree angle took the video from their front window. You can clearly see it is.
Did she need some fiber in her diet, or what do we think's going on? Taco Bell, maybe?
I was about to say Taco Bell. Yeah. Looks like is a Taco Bell type situation.
Goodness gracious!
I mean, she needs to see a medical professional, not just for her head, but also for perhaps what's going on inside of her body.
That's terrible, man. They got a mugshot of her.
I haven't caught her yet.
I don't have a mugshot, Ken, but here's the interesting thing. From the video surveillance, this woman doesn't look half bad. And I don't know if that makes the story better or worse, but I'm telling you that the possibility exists that this could be a rather attractive young female who decided that it was a good idea to engage in a poop incident like this one.
Well, I just wanted to see if she was smiling.
She was giggling as she ran away. She seemed very proud of herself.
Yeah. Crazy comes in all shapes and sizes, man.
I suppose.
She's like Ernest T. Bass.
Except she ain't throwing rocks.
Only she ain't throwing rocks.
It's me, it's Ernest T.
Just running away, giggling.
She seems giddy. She seemed like she was very proud of herself. And now she's going to have to go to jail for a little while. That's how we play Nincompoops in the News. You may vote 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. It is 10 until the top of the hour. We will get to more important news. I mean, I don't know how it would be more important than a poop incident in Pennsylvania. But we'll try. There's an inmate that is scheduled for death in the state of Tennessee. We'll talk about that. An illegal immigrant that was convicted of a various amount of crime doing in the state of Tennessee. We'll talk about that and what's going on in D.C. That's all to come on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. Let's get an update on this incredible 5th annual open house that's happening. I get to say it now. This month, at the end of this month, May 31st, on a Saturday from 10 until 2, it is the grand open house at Glock Store. It is a huge party every year. They throw open the doors, welcome all of Nashville to come and join the fun. The open house is famous for their incredible raffles. I mean, it is jam-packed, but never too jam-packed for you and your family. This year, it's nonstop. All day long, they're giving you the best chance to win some really great gear, including a custom Glock handgun. And even if you don't win the raffle, there are incredible deals on Glocks all day long and Glock gear. Deals so good, you just have to be there to believe them. Burrow Bullet Blowout, 9mm and 223 and 1,000-round tac packs, and a Burrow Bullet, ammo box, which is difficult to say. Burrow Bullet ammo box. Say that 3 times fast. You won't believe the price on this. You just have to come out to see it. They're also giving, they'll also have their brand new line of full auto rental rifles, which I've done, and you got to do it just once. Enjoy the power of full auto. Some machine gun fun at the Glock Store. More details as the party gets closer, but for now, just save the date, Saturday, May 31st at the end of the month. And don't forget to come by and say hello to me, Matt Murphy. I'll be there all day long. The 5th annual open house, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. More information online at glockstore.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a property tax increase for Nashville. This story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There are a couple of questions being posed on the Super Text line that I want to get to real quick. Kathy writes in and wants to know, Matt, did the Pennsylvania Prospect Park police pursue the pooping perpetrator, and did perpetrator have penal priors?
Some good alliteration.
That's a lot of alliteration.
Yeah.
Yes, and to my knowledge, no. The second question that I have gotten 3, 4, 5 times maybe, and I don't know if you've thought of the question yourselves, but I'm just going to answer it. I'm not going to say the question because there is a line. I know that y'all don't think that, but there is a line that I'm trying not to dip below it. So I'm just going to answer the question for those that have asked. She used nothing. She just got back in her car.
Yeah. I actually watched the video. It was only because you told me the commentary that was going on in the background by the person filming.
Did you hear the guy?
Yes.
The guy said, the bleep just bleeped on her car. He's like, he's laughing. He can't believe slut. Anyway, so yeah, that and Ken, it was a closer race than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But I think I'm victorious. I got to do a final count. But you're getting votes. You're getting your fair share of meat votes.
Yay!
It's a good. I mean, the meat's got some votes. But I just remind everybody, I'm not trying to tilt the scale, but it's called nincompoops in the news.
It's kind of in the title.
I mean, it's kind of in the name.
Yeah.
Speaking of in the name, we'll try to get to the real news in a moment. Also, folks, do not fear this federal judge in Texas that has decided that he knows better than the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, and the President of the United States of America. Because he's decided that he gets to define what an invasion truly is. And despite the clear evidence that we're being invaded by gangs from Venezuela and other places, he doesn't believe that this constitutes an invasion and doesn't believe the President of the United States has authority to act under the Alien Enemies Act. We'll tell you the full scope, the full story. Get your calls as well. One more hour to go at Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Everyone in Middle Tennessee looking at a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather tonight. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, property owners whose value increased by more than 45% might have to pay higher taxes. Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% increase during the 62nd annual State of the Metro address today.
Building schools, patching potholes, picking up trash, and keeping people safe are all more expensive. This is a challenging budget to prepare because there are so many financial variables. Our national economic outlook is murky. We're phasing out hundreds of millions of dollars of one-time federal COVID relief funding.
But outside, a couple of dozen protesters said there's no need to raise taxes, find the money somewhere else. And they say they plan to keep up the pressure. Next stop is the Metro Council for the mayor's budget. They must vote to approve the budget before July 1st. President Trump's been busy on Truth Social today. He posted any country that buys oil from Iran will not be allowed to do business with the U.S. President also announcing he's nominating Mike Waltz to be the next United States ambassador to the United Nations, and that Secretary of State Marco Rubio will do double duty and serve as national security advisor. Trump does not mention anything about Waltz adding that reporter to that Signal app conversation between top Trump administration officials during the bombing of the Houthis. And a Trump-appointed federal judge in Texas is ruling a centuries-old wartime authority to send alleged gang members out of the country without a hearing is illegal.
It's a repudiation of the White House's legal strategy. Judge Fernando Rodriguez says the president cannot summarily declare that an invasion has occurred to rely on the use of the Alien Enemies Act. Appointed by President Trump and confirmed in 2018, Rodriguez points to the dictionary definition and historic meaning of the word invasion and finds the president hasn't shown how the Tren de Aragua gang aims to conquer the country or assume control over a portion of it.
The early effects of President Trump's tariffs on foreign goods apparently starting to show in the labor market, with weekly jobless claims unexpectedly jumping last week.
First-time filings for unemployment insurance surged by 18,000 in the week ending April 26th to a seasonally adjusted 241,000. The unemployment situation has remained fairly stable in 2025, despite troubling signs from other parts of the economy. Tomorrow, the broader jobless report for all of April comes out.
Not everyone's loving it at McDonald's. The burger giant today reported sales fell more than 3.5% in the first quarter. McDonald's telling investors traffic among middle-income diners falling by nearly double digits alongside an ongoing drop-off among low-income ones, and that more people appear to be skipping breakfast entirely to cut back on spending, or they're just eating breakfast at home. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, TDOT says there are two crashes on I-24 in Antioch. The first one has the off-ramp partially blocked, 24 eastbound to Hickory Hollow Parkway. The other one is 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. In Belmont, we've got a crash reported by TDOT, right shoulder block, 65 southbound before Wedgwood Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you. Ken Weaver back in News Closet B. Chris Weber behind the board, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible and your humble host until 7 o'clock. We hand off to, well, it's not the great one. Mark Levin is off this week, but he's had some great fill-in hosts to include Ben Ferguson. I don't know who's here tonight. We'll find out together. 5811 says Matt should win by default. Nincompoop in the news. What a great way to add poop to nincompoops. LOL, comma, Marconi excellence. Wow. I don't know about
high
all
praise.
That. I don't know about all that. I think that guarantees that you won't get one. 4481 says, I wonder if she was a graduate of Pennsylvania University or PU. Well done. I have tallied the votes, and while it was closer than I anticipated, Ken Weaver, I'm sad to note, for your sake,
Yes, sir.
I was the winner.
That's the way to go, Brother Murphy.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah,
You can't win them all, Weaver.
Well, all I had was a naked head. You had a full moon that was throwing up.
I've never heard it put that way and don't ever want to hear it put that way again.
Oh, my goodness. Great. You think she regretted it afterwards when she got back in her car?
I don't think so.
When she sat on that seat and got up.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Boys, I bet you she was giggling all the way. She is a female version of Ernest T. Bass. I guarantee it.
Look at me. Look at me. I just made the big poopy. You know? A federal judge has allowed Venezuelans targeted for deportation under the Alien Enemies Act in the Southern District of Texas to proceed with a class action lawsuit against President Donald J. Trump. U.S. District Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr., who was appointed by Trump during his first term, issued a 12-page order granting a group of petitioners class certification. Rodriguez wrote, the unusual circumstance of this case present a compelling justification to utilize a procedure equivalent to a class action authorized by Rule 23. The Trump administration argues the petitioners have no basis to establish a protected legal class to resolve whether an alien has been properly included in the category of alien enemies, necessarily individual determinations. The judge considered whether individual, quote, habeas corpus hearings would be required for every Venezuelan national targeted under the Alien Enemies Act of Southern District of Texas to determine whether they are members of Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang the State Department designated as a foreign terrorist organization in March. Rodriguez said requiring individualized habeas corpus proceedings to repeatedly address the common legal issues unduly wastes judicial resources. I want to pause here for a minute. You know what wastes judicial resources? Not protecting our southern border. Allowing anyone and everyone to come into this country regardless of their legal status, country of origin, or intent. Allowing anybody with a pulse to get into this nation and run roughshod over our laws, run roughshod over our citizens. What about our rights? What about our rights? About 100 people have been detained in the Southern District of Texas and designated as alien enemies under this proclamation, according to Rodriguez. Now, Trump, Donald J., our president of the United States of America that we elected, on March 14th issued an executive order entitled The Invocation of the Alien Enemies Act regarding the invasion of the United States by Tren de Aragua. According to Rodriguez, the present matter raises many common questions of law, but also indisputably raises some questions of fact that would require individualized hearings to resolve. As to the former, petitioners challenge the lawfulness of the president's invocation of the AEA through the proclamation. They argue primarily that the preconditions required to apply the AEA do not exist. The intended application of the proclamation and the AEA violate the designated alien enemy's due process rights. Y'all with me so far? under the due process rights under the Constitution and the procedures that respondents seek to follow violate the Immigration and Nationality Act, as well as the Convention Against Torture. The judge acknowledged at the same time petitioners cannot deny that whether any particular individual is a member of Tren de Aragua would require a fact-specific individualized determination. It is true the court would have to determine the applicable legal standard. This analysis would apply to every class member, but the hearings themselves would proceed individually as the relevant facts for each person differ. According to Reuters, the Trump administration deported at least 137 Venezuelans from the El Val Detention Center in Raymondville, Texas, under the Alien Enemies Act on March 15th. Relatives of these folks say they're not members of Tren de Aragua. Of course they're not. In a separate 36-page opinion, Rodriguez also said today, the Trump administration could not rely on the Alien Enemies Act to deport any national from Venezuela who are Tren de Aragua. Well, why the hell did you do both then? Why didn't you just do the one? Because the gang's presence in the United States cannot be classified as an invasion or predatory incursion under federal law. Oh, so this guy decides that he single-handedly is going to make the determination as to what this definition is. Despite the court precedents, despite using this in the past, despite the law being clear, and I'm going to go over it with you in a moment. I don't pretend to be the constitutional expert that our good friend Mark Levin is, but in his absence, I'll try my best. One, I heard Levin say this a few weeks ago, and he is 100% correct. I'm sick to death of these namby-pamby leftist reporters. Every time they bring up the Alien Enemies Act of 17, oh, it's a 200-year-old thing. It's rarely used. What the hell does that matter? It's rarely used. You know why it's rarely used? Because we rarely see an invasion on American soil of this scope. Thank God. It's rarely used because rarely do we see a president of the United States of America with the disregard for American law that Joe Biden and his minions had, so much so that they just open up the borders and anybody that wants to come in can come on in. It's a free-for-all. You don't see that, do you? Because previous presidents had a basic understanding of the sovereignty of the United States of America, to include liberal presidents like Barack Obama. Barack Obama was soft on the border, but Barack Obama wasn't this. I mean, at least he deported people. Joe Biden didn't deport a damn person. Get in and you're free to go. If it's so easy to get in, why is it so damn hard to get them out? You didn't bother with the due process to get in, but oh boy, we better check all the boxes on due process to get your butt out. It's an insult. Mr. Rodriguez goes on, quote, neither the court nor the parties question that the executive branch can direct the detention and removal of aliens who engage in criminal activity in the United States. The president's invocation of the AEA, though, through the proclamation, exceeds the scope of the statute and is contrary to the plain, ordinary meaning of the statute's terms. The court concludes that the president's invocation of the AEA through the proclamation exceeds the scope of the statute and, as a result, is unlawful. Did we not just do Chevron? Where the executive branch has the ability to define these terms as they see fit. The Alien Enemies Act of 1789 is not that hard to understand. The Alien Enemies Act is an authority that allows the President of the United States to detain or deport the natives or the citizens of an enemy nation or group. The law permits our President of the United States of America, elected by us, to target these individuals without a hearing and based on their country of birth or citizenship. Although the law was enacted to prevent foreign espionage or sabotage in wartime, it can be and has been used against immigrants who have individually done nothing wrong. Even if they are present lawfully in the United States of America. And no one is suggesting that any of these people are present lawfully in the United States of America. The Alien Enemies Act has only been invoked 3 times prior to our discussion here. War of 1812, World War I, World War II. In World Wars I and II, the law was the authority behind detention, expulsion, and restriction, targeting German, Austro-Hungarian, Japanese, and Italian immigrants based on their ancestry. You might recall the law is best known for its role in Japanese internment. Many believe that that was wrongful, that was wrongly done, and that's fine. And in the past, presidents and the courts have apologized because those individuals, the circumstances were very different. But consider that no one has challenged the authority of the President of the United States to do what the President of the United States at the time did, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Nobody challenged his authority to do it. The President invoked the Alien Enemies Act, as is his right to do, per the act itself. Now, you can argue whether it was wrongly done during World War II because the individuals, they demonstrated no proclivity to side with the Japanese at the time. But I've seen no argument that it was illegally done. We were at war. Whether declared or not, the southern border and its open nature created a war. By the way, we have reputable reports that Venezuela has contact with the Tren de Aragua group and that this gang, which has its location in that country, considers many of their gang members as sleeper cells in the United States of America. I do not fear this judge. I do not fear this ruling. The administration will appeal. It will go first to the New Orleans-based 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. If there is remedy to be had here, these are illegal entries into the United States of America that collectively make up enemy combatants of the United States, as designated lawfully by the President of the United States. I mean, to believe Rodriguez, we would have no to believe Rodriguez, if we caught wind of the potential that there were sleeper cells, let's say in July of 2001, that there were anti-American, Muslim-based sleeper cells in the United States of America that were here illegally, overstaying their visas, or here illegally in whole cloth, and that those individuals were communicating with one another and the potential existed for them to plan some form of assault on the United States of America. By the logic of Mr. Rodriguez, the president, had he caught wind of this at the time, George W. Bush, would have had no recourse because no war had been declared. Is this individual aware of what's going on in this country? Is he aware of what happened in Aurora, Colorado, and so many other places around the United States of America? Is he aware of the citizens that have been killed as a result of gang-related, foreign-born gang-related activity in this country? And he wants to argue constitutionality? The Supreme Court has already weighed in on the issue of deportation under the AEA, and the justice has held that migrants alleged to be gang members must be given at least a reasonable time to contest their removal individually. This guy took the step further to say no from a class action standpoint. And, oh, by the way, I'm just going to disagree with the Supreme Court on this matter. And one would expect that the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, upon hearing this, will dismiss this 37-page opinion immediately. They can deal with the class action aspect of this, but this concept that this doesn't constitute an invasion, you don't get to say what constitutes an invasion, particularly when the Supreme Court has already issued their ruling that these migrants can be considered gang members, but you have to prove it at least in a reasonable span of time before removing them, which seems to be easy enough to do. Why do these judges care so much about illegal gang members and not so much about American citizens? 22 minutes after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Eurofix. Exciting news for those who have not heard. They're now in Mount Juliet. That's right, 5 separate locations. Eurofix, you know that they've been in Middle Tennessee for 26 years now. They've been engaged in European auto repair and doing it the right way, and we've watched them grow through that entire process. Friends, I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business grow, and Aaron Stokes has done it the right way. Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road right now, that brand new 5th location right across the street from Dairy Queen. They can serve you in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool watching this happen. They started in a barn, folks, in a barn in the backyard of his single-wide trailer, and now they've grown to 5 separate locations, repairing thousands of cars on a monthly basis. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair. Call 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Nashville property tax increase proposed, and Carfax is at the center of a new scam. These stories and the day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Show me the Carfax. Show me the Carfax. Show me the Carfax. All right,
Carfax.
Show me the Carfax. 27 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I found it. So Marco Rubio is now, he's filling 4 roles. He is he's the Secretary of State of the United States of America, and that's nice. He is the acting archivist of the United States. All right. Has been the acting archivist since February of this year. He is now the administrator for the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. That organization has been rolled back into the Secretary of State's office. So, maybe we can get rid of that one. And now he is the assistant to the president for national security affairs. He's the acting national security administrative head. Now that Mike Waltz has been removed from that post and nominated to be the ambassador to the United Nations. And as we established, talking about it earlier, I mean, what do you do if you're the ambassador to the United Nations? That's just a lot of blah, 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 blah. And I suppose if I understand the hierarchy of all of this, every ambassador to every country, the Secretary of State is ultimately the presidential spokesperson for every country. I mean, he is the official individual that would engage in talks or negotiations. So any ambassador to any foreign nation is kind of underneath, one would think, the Secretary of State, and you would think that applies to the ambassador to the United Nations as well. So Mike Waltz would fall under the umbrella of the Secretary of State's office in that regard. In the meantime, Jose Angel Rios Ramirez, who a county official described as an illegal alien, was convicted yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say, Tuesday, for the 2022 murder of Olivia Warren Pina in Chattanooga. In a Facebook post, Hamilton County District Attorney Cody Wamp shared that Rios Ramirez was convicted by a Hamilton County jury, describing the victory for prosecutors as one of the many cases that no one ever hears about. According to Fox Chattanooga, Rios Ramirez admitted to the Chattanooga Police Department that August of 2022, he had been arguing with Jarquin Pina while out drinking. The fight became physical once they returned to their shared address. He ultimately told police the argument started after Pina became upset with him over his involvement with another woman. Bottom line is this. Another example of, and sadly this woman has died. Sadly, we now have a further strain on our system as Rios Ramirez, who was in the United States of America illegally, will now become a ward of the state for the foreseeable future. And he will become a drain on state resources for the foreseeable future. It is an unspoken drain on American resources that we don't talk about often enough. That these illegal aliens that commit acts they're here illegally. They should not be here at all. It's similar in nature to getting into a car accident and realizing the purpose that the person you got into an accident with has no license, no insurance, and no legal ability to operate a motor vehicle. They should not have been there in the first place, nor should Rios Ramirez have been there in the first place. And now, forevermore, Tennessee residents and the residents of the United States of America will be paying for him to reside in a penal institution. Makes you feel great, doesn't it? It's 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Everybody's under a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather tonight. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, property owners whose value increased by more than 45% might have to pay higher taxes. Mayor Freddie O'Connell's $3 billion budget includes a 26% property tax rate increase. That is a proposal that will go before the Metro Council, which has to pass a budget by July 1st. The Metro Public Health Department's investigating a restaurant following reports of food poisoning. This is the Sushi Train restaurant on White Bridge Road. The Tennessean says officials claim they found 18 violations during recent routine inspections. And Carfax has become a go-to resource for making sure a car purchase is safe, but now it's at the center of a new scam.
Pennsylvania resident Adriana Parsons says the dealership website she thought she was using to buy a luxury SUV looked legitimate.
So legitimate. Every single car was on Carfax.
But it turns out the actual dealership doesn't have a website at all. Parsons was looking at a fake set up by a scammer and ended up losing $45,000. Carfax says it's unable to provide more specific data on these issues and that it acts swiftly to take down fraudulent listings. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Tech stocks drove the markets higher today. Microsoft and Meta presented profits for the first quarter of the year that were bigger than what analysts expected. The Dow rose 83 points, the S&P was up 35, and the Nasdaq gained 264 points. Stocks first tanked this morning when the report showed more U.S. workers applying for unemployment benefits last week than expected. They recovered after the release of U.S. manufacturing numbers. They dropped only slightly better than feared. McDonald's says fewer people are buying their fast food items as diners grow uneasy about the tariff war initiated by the Trump administration. Same-store sales slumped 1% globally and 3.6% in the U.S. The burger chain says it will expand its U.S. value menu and extend the $5 meal deal. That's been around since last summer to boost sales.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police reporting a crash 24 westbound at I-440 near Belmont. TDOT says there's a crash on the right shoulder, 65 southbound before Wedgwood Avenue. And in Bellevue, police reporting a crash 40 westbound past Highway 70, exit 196. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Grace Point Healthcare is obviously affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medical care for you and your entire family. I believe it is superior health care because they treat the whole body with comprehensive medical approaches. They get to the root of the problem. They don't just feel like treating the symptoms of the problem. And sadly, it's a lot of what you get at doctors' offices nowadays. I'll give you an example. If you're feeling fatigued or feel like you might have lost a step, if you have intestinal issues or rashes or hives or sinus problems, you might have a food allergy. Get tested and learn the foods to avoid in your diet. This is an example of how they do things. They don't just treat those symptoms like the rash itself or the intestinal issue itself. They go a little further at Grace Point Healthcare. They're a military veteran-owned practice. I absolutely love that. They treat naturally and holistically when possible. And at Grace Point, bottom line is this. They believe in your interaction with the doctor should never be interfered with by the insurance company. It's why they're a direct pay company. Engage in their Smart Care plan. I mean, I'm telling you, $69 a month and you get unlimited office visits throughout the course of the year. Or you can pay by the visit. You really can't afford exceptional medicine at your convenience. 599-6868, 599-6868 to schedule your next medical appointment in the heart of Franklin at Grace Point Healthcare. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Has anybody noticed, and while we were listening to Mr. Ken Weaver deliver his final newscast of the evening, I was listening and I was noting the liberal bias, not by Ken, obviously, but by some in the news media, ABC and others. And I say that I watch #NeverCNN so you don't have to, right? And I've been saying that for years. It's an occupational hazard that I absorb this liberal claptrap so that you can lead a better life as a result. And I'll keep you informed as to what's going on. And whether it's #NeverCNN, what a garbage network full of garbage people spewing garbage, or ABC, CBS, NBC, the amount of deference they give to illegal gang members in this country, the difficulty that they suggest is involved in getting them the hell out of this country, makes me understand that they want them here. They don't care that they are here, that they consider Donald Trump to be the greater threat. Think about that for a moment. These same media organizations claim to believe in, quote-unquote, democracy. These same media organizations have these leftists on that talk about, oh, democracy this and democracy that. I was looking at, Donald Trump's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama tonight. Donald Trump is delivering remarks at the University of Alabama. You know who else is going to be there?
The king?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making an appearance. I don't know if they're together or not, but Nick Saban himself is going to be speaking at the event.
Yeah.
And Donald J. Trump will be there, too, offering his remarks. And we'll carry some of that for you as time allows tomorrow on the show. And outside, a former United States Senator, a mistake of a United States Senator from the state of Alabama, Doug Jones, spoke. And Doug Jones says that Donald J. Trump is the greatest threat to American democracy that we've ever seen, and we cannot let it stand. What are you talking? So I wish one person would say, what are you proposing we do? You see, you claim to want to protect democracy. What was democracy last November? Was that not democracy as you define it? Democracy is not on the ballot. Democracy is the ballot, you dunderhead, you dolt. How dumb are you? The American people just exercised democracy. He's only served 102 days of the 1,460 days. Now, if you believe that he's doing something extracurricular to the Constitution of the United States of America, if you believe in the damn Constitution so much, then use it to your advantage. File articles of impeachment, get on the floor, argue them, indict the man through articles of impeachment, impeach him, send it over to the Senate, convict him, and kick him out of office. Otherwise, sit down and shut up. What do you mean? I don't even know what they mean. Oh, he's a threat to democracy, and we cannot let it. We're not going to let it stand. We have to do something about it. What? What are you going to do? You just lost, bud. You couldn't even see fit to present a candidate for public service that knew where the hell he was most of the time. And then when you realized how awful it truly was and how big the cover-up went and how much the media ignored it, you decided, we don't want to have an actual democratic process to select our person that we want to put on the ballot. We'll just pick them for these folks, and they'll forgive us at the ballot box. And they didn't. In a lot of ways, she was worse than him. Did you see she popped up last night, too? That was nice. You know, I try not to inundate you with a lot of these things. I mean, by now you've probably heard it. You don't need to hear it again. This cackling boob was out in California making a fool of herself, going over Donald Trump's first 100 days. Give me a break. So, Doug Jones, a former United States Senator and a former prosecutor from Alabama, says that democracy is at risk, in peril, and that we have to do something. What? What? I'm being serious. What? Complain? Overthrow the government? Engage in a coup? That's how you're going to save democracy, by destroying democracy, by engaging in a coup? What are you people talking about? They are, and let me tell you something. They are at an 0194. I understand. I'm using the language that they're using. Just calm down. And by the way, you're wrong. Sorry, I'm on a toot. I don't mean to get off on you, but we are a constitutional republic is a form of I've done this for years. People get all beside themselves. Don't allow Democrats to destroy the language. Democracy comes in two forms. There's a form that is direct democracy and indirect democracy. Direct democracy involves every person under the democracy voting. We do not have a form of direct democracy in existence in the world today, because it would involve every 350 or, let's say all voting age people voting on every issue that's before the country, and we don't do that. We engage a constitutional republic, much like a constitutional monarchy, is a form of indirect democracy. So it is appropriate to call our constitutional republic a form of democracy. I know y'all hate it when I say that, and apparently people have a difficult time understanding it, because people understand that we are more specific when we describe the type of representation that we have. We believe in the rule of law. We believe that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. We elect representatives to represent us in our republic. I get it. But broadly speaking, one, I'm using their language that they use, and two, in a broad sense, that language is correct, because there are two forms of democracy, direct democracy and indirect democracy, and it's all good. It's fine. I understand in a more specific way, we are a constitutional republic, also known as a representative republic, whatever. No, they want to engage in a coup, and they're saying it out loud. And Doug Jones is not the only one. Kamala Harris reflected on it last night. And, in a lot of ways, we can say Hakeem Jeffries and AOC and Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom and what's the fat boy, J.D. Pritzker, is that his name? J.D. Pritzker and all of the rest of them. It's just pablum. They're just blathering. And in a lot of ways they are. They're just blathering. They don't have anything else to say. They cannot look themselves in the mirror and understand that they have gone off the reservation, that they are so far to the left of the spectrum that they do not represent the people that they claim to represent anymore. And those people have left them. And that Donald Trump has truly reinvented not just the Republican Party and not just conservatism, but he's reinvented America. He's turned the Republican Party into the working man's party. He's also turned around a lot of issues that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would have said were basic bread and butter conservative issues. And he's turned those issues on their head. Donald Trump is the peacemaker. Donald Trump wants to get us out of foreign wars. The Republicans are the ones that want to prevent us from getting into foreign war engagements. It's the Democrats that want to get us into foreign wars now. Isn't that weird? But it's true. So Donald Trump speaks before an assembled group in Tuscaloosa, and there are a lot of protests going on, including former U.S. Senator Doug Jones, who says that our democracy depends on resisting and getting him out of office, whatever the hell that means. I would also note this, too, that this Pritzker fellow, when he spoke the other night, he said that Trump should know no peace, that Republicans should know no peace. I had the clip. I was going to play it for you, and I'm not going to now because it's too late. But it's amazing. Donald Trump almost had his head blown off less than a year ago. Less than a year ago. Less than a year ago. An assassin whom we know nothing about because we've been told nothing about him. That assassin attempted to take off the head of the former and future president of the United States of America. And less than a year later, after all of these media, we need to calm down the rhetoric. We need to tone it down. This is dangerous, they said for a day and a half. Now, they're back at it. They're calling him Hitler again. Oh, he's not. He's worse than Hitler. I mean, Larry, we didn't blink an eye. I didn't even mention it. That comedian Larry David, that Donald Trump's like Hitler. They go after Bill Maher for daring to even talk to the guy. Unbelievable. In the meantime, the American people appreciate, and I don't talk about polls a lot. Very rarely do you hear me talking about polls. And I know that many of our friends and colleagues get caught up in them because I believe that the majority of the American people who voted for this man still support him. And we understand that certain things will take time. We understand that his tariff issue, I don't pretend to understand exactly what he's doing day to day on tariffs, but I trust the man and his sense of negotiation. And I trust and understand at some point I'm going to criticize the president of the United States and already have in the first 102 days. But I trust the man that I voted for, and I believe you do too. The media creates narratives through polls, and they want to create the narrative 102 days in that Donald Trump's already failed in his second term. That's what they're trying to do. And so they try to use polls and they use pundits and, the economy sucks and this is awful and we'll use the courts. All designed to do the same thing, destroy the confidence that the American people have placed in our man, Donald J. Trump. Does that mean he does everything right? Of course it doesn't. Of course he makes mistakes. Hello, Mike Waltz. But we still believe in our man. 51 after the hour on Super Talk. Let's talk for a moment about my friend Shane Ring at Cover Nash, located right here in Middle Tennessee in Brentwood, to be precise. He is your local expert when it comes to not only opting into healthcare plans, but also understanding and becoming educated on what plans you really need and how much you really should be paying for medical procedures and visits. When you book your appointment with Shane, he will go over all of the available health plan options on the market today. He is not beholden to one insurance company, never will be. He is beholden to you. You're his customer, and the insurance plans that he provides you, these are the products that he makes available to you, and he finds the right product for you. No more call center agents wasting your time. No more bills that you were never told you were going to get. Shane will show you how you can access in real time the cost of medical procedures so you can value or rather assess the value of those medical procedures and what they should be costing you. I've sat down in his office. I've seen him do this. I've seen him evaluate healthcare options and find the right one for people just like you. Don't wait for open enrollment. Let's do this now. Let's go to Cover Nash. Go to covernash.com. That's covernash.com. Give Shane Ring a call at 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for my friend Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Create a healthcare plan managed by you, not by the government, with Cover Nash. All right, just when you think you hate the mainstream media as much as you possibly can, I'm going to finish off with this story. Associated Press, which at one time I thought, when I started this job back in 2000, I thought they were a fairly reputable, they were one of the few reputable news organizations that called balls and strikes. Not anymore. Headline. Alert me, Weber, alert me when you catch wind of the hook here, okay?
Okay.
Army plans for a potential parade on Trump's birthday call for 6,600 soldiers, AP learns. Detailed Army plans for a potential military parade on President Donald J. Trump's birthday in June call for more than 6,600 soldiers, at least 150 vehicles, 50 helicopters, 7 bands, and possibly a couple thousand civilians, the Associated Press has learned. The planning documents obtained by AP are dated April 29 and 30, have not been publicly released. They represent the Army's most recent blueprint for its planned festival on the National Mall and the newly added element, a large military parade that Trump has long wanted and is still being discussed. The long-planned Army 250th birthday festival on the National Mall does not include any price estimate, but would likely cost tens of millions of dollars. So it goes on. High costs halted Trump's plans, yada, yada, yada. Asked about plans for a parade, Army spokesperson Steve Warren said, yada, yada, yada. June 14th is Donald Trump's birthday.
Yeah.
June 14th is also the 250th birthday of the United States Army.
Yeah.
This parade and all of the plans they are making are in honor of the United States Army.
Oh, sure it is. Yeah, no, it's Trump's birthday. You know it is all about him.
And the headline is not plans for the Army's 250th birthday. Yeah. The plans are, it's Trump. It's Trump's. You cannot hate these people enough. Someone made the decision to change the headline because they want Trump to look bad. Oh, boy. That's going to wrap it up for us. Hey, we're broadcasting live from 3rd and Lindsley, which is better than broadcasting dead from 3rd and Lindsley. In anticipation of Roll Call 3.0, we'll have Jason